This episode of the Giant Bombcast is brought to you in part by Lisa. Lisa is on a mission to give your body the rest it needs with 2 awesome mattresses, plus accessories and bases for a better place to sleep. They also believe in providing a better night's sleep for everybody. And to date, they've donated more than 32,000 mattresses through more than 1,000 nonprofits. Get 15% off your entire order at lisa.com/bombcast and use the promo code BOMBCAST. That's LEESA.com/bombcast, promo code BOMBCAST.
Hey, it's the Giant Bombcast for this Tuesday, May the 14th, 2019?
I've been waiting for this one.
With you.
Nice.
How was it the year that I stumbled?
I don't know.
I was impressed you pulled the 14th there.
Yeah, it's 2019.
I'm
right?
still putting
Yeah.
2018 in all my podcast metadata.
That's right.
Still good.
Too real. That is way too real. I'm Brad Shoemaker, joined by Ben Pack.
Hello.
Jason A. Striker.
Hey, everybody.
Jan Ochoa.
Hello.
Banging on.
All this stuff, everything
Oh,
decided
man.
to
Had
go
to
wrong.
Pull out a
Right before showtime.
comically large wrench and whack the computer a few times.
My
before
knee
this.
is wet with coffee now.
Oh no.
That was my fault.
It's fine.
They got a little wet and wild down there at the control panel.
I was sitting on
right
Jan's
before
lap.
this. Special guest Will Smith here.
Hi, I'm special guest Will Smith.
Speaking of wet and
And
wild,
are you a featuring Will Smith or an and Will
I
Smith?
feel like
Oh,
I mean
yeah.
there was a conversation a few weeks ago about who did the most guest appearances on the Bombcast. So I think I might be featuring Will Smith now.
by
right?
hours.
Is that
Oh, yeah.
the other podcast I'm a regular featured guest on? They play a special theme when I'm on.
Whoa.
They play a dubstep mix of their
sorry.
theme song.
ooh,
I'm just saying.
Sorry, we're not as fancy
Yeah.
as your famous podcast friends.
No. It's not the famous pod. It's the other pod. It's the.
Oh.
It's the.
Oh, your other
it's the
podcast
other
friends.
podcast.
I see.
he's
Yeah.
just
Okay.
telling us about
Look,
all these other podcasts he's on that's not
Guys,
ours.
I podcast around a lot.
I'm
we'll get to
okay.
that.
I'm okay being on the low rung of the Will Smith podcast ladder.
Oh, you're the ones I always say yes to first because it takes a long time and it's Tuesday, and there's a really good fried chicken sando place around the corner from your
wow,
office.
yeah.
We got to look into that.
place is
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, I should. Tell me
We got
about
curly
this.
fries.
We do. You know what? I very much appreciate your ability to take 4 hours out of your Tuesday on a frequent basis.
It is the benefit of owning your own company and having
Make your
a
own
flexible
hours, man.
schedule and working really late at night.
Yeah,
a lot
having
of
having
time.
employees that like to work overnight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jeff is in the concrete wilds of Los Angeles,
Oh,
Ooh.
God bless him.
seeing unreleased video games,
Doing that kind of work.
maybe unannounced video games.
Yeah,
So he's
probably.
Judge Jeff this week.
What do you think he's seeing?
Kingdom Hearts
Do you think
3.
they get hats?
Rage 2.
That'll never come out.
Or badges or anything? Like cool judge badges?
Like a fedora with a
Yeah.
press,
I bet
they
press
have-
card in it.
I bet they have one of those little knapsacks with this 2 strings that are like kind of a
Oh,
backpack, but kind of a
yeah.
knapsack.
Oh,
And it says E3 Judge.
I'm not a fan
on
of
the
those
back.
things. It doesn't look.
I'm going to get
Right.
a shirt that says that. You know, the ones that say like staff or FBI
Okay,
or
okay.
security.
Judge.
Yeah.
Get a shirt. Get a shirt that says
E3
staff
Judge.
and hold a clipboard.
There you go.
Should it be like in the college font? So
Yes,
it's like,
of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that seems good.
I'm curious to know what he's seeing, but
I think
don't actually
Sims
know.
5.
Call
Don't
him.
actually
Sims
know.
5.
Sims 5.
Call
Is
him.
this-
Give him a call.
Is this the year?
That's it.
He might be in the
That's-
middle of a thing right now.
I know, exactly.
Maybe maybe
The
it's,
background noise of the phone call might be under embargo.
what was the game? What was the game where you had the Sim Galaxy? Sim
Sim
Galaxy.
Galaxy.
Spore?
Spore. Maybe he's seen
yeah.
Spore
Man,
2.
have we
Maybe
forgotten-
it's finally Spore
Have
2.
we forgotten Spore already?
Bib ribbon.
As fans have been clamoring forever to get Spore 2 out
Or
there.
Right.
Aver. And Aver.
I didn't hate Spore.
I
It was fun.
it was fine.
I made,
kind of cool.
Yeah.
I made things that had big
enjoyed
penises on it.
wow.
It was fun.
This is probably old news at this point, but have you guys seen speaking of demanding games, have you guys taken a look at the EA Instagram account in the past couple weeks?
No.
I try to I block all brands by default.
Well, that's
Good
good
policy.
policy. But if you go to the EA Instagram account, the comment on every post going back for a few weeks is just every comment is Skate 4.
Still?
Yeah,
Again?
still again, it's back.
So I'm gonna
It just revs up every
It's
time
just
of
like
year.
yeah,
Certain time of year.
let's
Okay.
let's
Skate 4
workshop
machine.
this.
Okay.
as like a EA marketing executive.
Oh, sure. How do we spin
versus
this?
The community management guy, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, so we got this Instagram thing happening. What
Oh
should
my
we do
God,
about it?
the EA community management guy is not a job I want to think
I've known
about.
several of them. They're sad people usually. Like, what do we do? What do we? Everybody they want Skate 4. They're asking for Skate 4 every day. What do we do?
We just put
How about-
wheels on
How about
everything.
make Skate 4?
And
No,
No,
Brad,
no.
that's
Brad,
too easy
Brad,
because if you start
get
making
out.
Skate 4, they're going to stop commenting
Yeah.
on every post, which raises our engagement numbers.
Look, they wanted Mirror's Edge 2,
God.
and
We just put wheels on her.
yeah, and then they didn't buy it, so we can't give them what they want because it's never going to work. We
I
can't
don't-
do that.
I don't know who invited the guy into the meeting who just says put wheels on it.
Put the
but
wheels
I
on it.
really like what he's thinking. I think we just need to go with a
More wheels.
more wheels, more trucks, less loot boxes, I guess.
And-
People don't have
yeah.
those.
Anthem,
sure.
but wheels.
I mean,
Oh,
Anthem but blank is an improvement on Anthem.
yeah.
So
I think that EA's marketing department is paying people to put Skate 4 on all their Instagram posts.
Oh man,
that's my dark theory.
That is
oh,
dark.
fuck. That's like the Sonic is
Oh,
supposed to be
wow.
bad theory I can get behind.
That sounds like
Sonic
something
has always been bad.
Reddit would do. Video games.
Yeah, Skate
They're
4.
happening.
Generally, what we talk about here.
And I would play Skate 4.
Top of.
Nah.
No, I didn't play any. I haven't played any skates.
Oh, you're missing out, man.
Skate 3 is
I
real
know.
good.
You're missing out on
No.
skating.
I've only played a Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk's good too.
Here and there.
They should make another one of those.
Yeah.
They tried that.
They made that
See what
fun
happens.
one.
Yeah.
See what happens when you try to revisit your classic skateboarding
I should
franchise.
just get out my Dreamcast. That's the answer.
There you go. That's the answer to everything.
Weird ass controller.
Mod an HDMI port into it, and off you go.
Can you do that?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
What?
Yeah,
And-
this little
and-
board that you put down on the
Yeah.
bottom. Oh man.
I think it's FPGA driven, actually,
So does
if
it?
I'm not mistaken. You can
Do you
I think
solder
you
it
can-
onto the
yeah,
the VGA
I think
outputs
you have
or
to actually.
something?
I haven't
the VGA
I haven't looked
outputs.
at the mod too
Oh,
closely,
man.
It
I
seems
think you can-
relatively easy.
but I think you can add an HDMI port and like an SD card
Yes.
interface
That's the ultimate dream right
to
there. Yeah.
to an actual Dreamcast.
You,
and
you remove the
Wow.
optical drive and you put it in an SD card reader, and it's just
you
and
can
then
add
you-
anything to anything at this point.
pretty much.
This is like I remember the first time I cracked open a GBA and put the backlight in, and
yeah.
it felt like the most subversive shit I'd ever
Yeah.
done in my life.
Oh, the afterburner,
yeah, like I had to get a weird three pin screwdriver.
the tri-wing.
Yeah, the tri-wing, and I had to open that thing up, and all I wanted to do was not get fingerprints or dust on anything that I was going to have to look at for the next 3 or 4 years.
Because you would see it forever.
Because it would make me crazy,
Oh,
and I
man.
got a little tiny bit of dust in there. But it was awesome because I could play the GBA in bed in the dark.
Right.
There is a new Game Boy Color. It's like a modern LCD with like a modern proper backlight in the LCD mod for Game Boy Color, which
that,
looks
man.
pretty complicated.
Just get a warm light.
I've talked about it a couple times recently, but it's called Freckle Shack.
What?
That's the name. That's
Why
the
is
name
it-
of the mod.
Wow.
You should look it up.
Is that the guy's like forum name? The person who
Maybe
invented it or something?
I have no idea.
Love that.
But it looks. I watched like a tutorial of how to do the whole thing end to end.
Wow.
It is a really nice looking Game Boy Color at the end.
So I saw a thing a few weeks ago that a friend of mine had that he'd bought off of like Alibaba Express or something.
Oh, yeah.
That was basically like a
We've all been
3DS XL size handheld that was just an Android box. It had gamepad, it had two analog
yeah.
sticks, it had 4 buttons, it had 2 shoulders, the whole thing, and a huge screen, way bigger than the 3DS XL. And it was just basically like ran all your emulator, all the emulators that are available on
I
Android.
want to say there's like Windows versions of that out there too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That's cool, man. You can
Yeah.
play all your old games anywhere you want with good controls. I like that.
As long as you don't own them.
I mean, yeah,
People,
of course.
Come on.
Own
Future
them.
is amazing. Let's see what is out this week.
Rage.
Rage 2.
2.
Anybody play Rage 2?
Jeff
Played
did.
some
Yeah,
Brad played some
I have
Rage
some
too.
audio from a Jeff Gersman. If you want to.
Yeah, we have Jeff calling
From
in
beyond the grave.
Yeah.
calling in live right now. This is
Hello, everyone. So
I was just
I'm,
kidding
Hey,
about
Jeff.
calling him.
Out of the office this week, handling some pre-E3 business.
Turn it up a little bit.
But thought I should talk about Rage 2 real quick.
Thanks, Jeff.
The quick looks up on the site now, so you can get a look at it
I
there.
had no idea about this.
I've put in about another 4 or 5 hours since that, so
It's
probably
just
about
5
10 or
minutes.
11 so far.
Live commentary on the commentary.
Rage seems like a totally like okay game. You know, it's this competent first-person shooter.
Put it on the box.
The shooting feels fine. Like the abilities
first-person
are
shooter.
interesting.
Competent,
You just kind
dot,
of get
dot,
to use them often enough for it to really stand out. You get like a force push and like a ground pound and You can like double run and double jump and all this other stuff, and the movement abilities like all feel pretty good. Like the force push will blast a guy out of his armor and stuff, so that there's kind of a process of like, okay, I'm gonna blast this guy's armor off and then finish him off with a shotgun, and like that stuff is like kind of satisfying, but it doesn't really feel like there's just that much variety there. Weapons are all fairly standard. It's got a really good shotgun, and when you aim down sights on it, it fires like a solid slug. So it's actually like a pretty versatile shotgun on top of that, which is kind of neat.
Cool.
And then but also it's another one of those games where the assault rifle is like crazy accurate, and you can just nail headshots left and right.
That sounds great.
There's that kind of push and pull of like, well, yeah, I mean, you could go through the rigmarole of these abilities that have like 15 to 25 second cooldowns, or I could just shoot them once in the head and keep moving. And the armored enemies are a little bit better with that, where you kind of have to put 4 or 5 shots into their head. But it does kind of, once you get good at firing that assault rifle, it kind of nullifies the need to even use some of the abilities. But they were worth using just because they were fun. And good in situations where the game will throw fast moving melee enemies at you, these mutants that'll skitter up at you, and so that kind of close range stuff makes the shotgun more valuable, and also kind of gives you a reason to push them away, do the ground pound, vortex, bring it on back, Jim, and that sort of stuff. So like that stuff's like neat, but
Oh, Jeff, we lost you.
No.
Okay.
to really stand out. Like the rest of the game is a pretty standard open world first person shooter. You drive between locations. It's got some car combat in it that is.
You got 3 minutes left
but,
on this.
Damn.
Rarely necessary.
Very Mad
The
Maxy.
GPS will kind of guide you to
Yeah, I watched the quick look
exactly where you
yesterday.
need to go on the roads, and eventually, like after about 10 hours, I was like, well, what the hell is out there? Like it really feels like it's just one bandit camp after another, like one gas station after another, and the only goal there is to kill everyone and collect some loot, and the loot is just like upgrade currency. It's not like armor, not loot. And so I just started running off in a direction and just kind of found like nothing. I found like 2 more bandit camps that were the same as a lot of the other bandit camps, and that's pretty disappointing. I think the story is largely forgettable, and that stuff is again like disappointing, especially like when you think about how they have framed the game and how they have positioned it as like this crazy over the top thing. Like Rage 2 feels like decidedly under the top. It is
Under the top.
just overly
sequel.
straightforward. I don't think the writing is especially memorable, or it doesn't seem it's not going for like a Borderlands thing. It's not this over the top like internet crap like Borderlands 2 was.
Love internet
It's
crap.
lighthearted, but not in a way that makes everything seem like forgettable and not important. It's like none of the characters care about anything that's happening all that much, and that's a little weird. But it's okay. I think it looks nice in a lot of situations. I think up close, a lot of the lesser NPCs, like not the big named mission givers, but kind of the side mission guys and some of the people you run into in some of the towns. Like I think their faces like animate really poorly. Like the lip sync is off and that sort of stuff. And I think the open world looks a little bland too. And I guess that's maybe its greatest problem is like it's okay. If you want an open world game with a checklist of things to check off and powers to get and all that sort of stuff, like it's all right. But I think if you're expecting it to be this like standout game that really sets itself apart, I think you'll probably be at least a little disappointed with it. But I thought it was better than Mad Max, and I thought it was better than Rage 1. But I also didn't like those games very much at all. So. It's pretty middling in spots, but you could do worse than Rage 2, I guess I would say.
Again, put it on the box.
Yep.
So
You could do worse.
That's that. I'll be back in
Under
the
the
office
top.
next week.
With more
and
Rage.
see everybody then. I'll probably finish it. I got pretty close to like you kind of see where it's going, and I probably have like 2 more missions before it kind of gets into the end game stuff. So when I get back, I might just knock out the rest of it. So maybe next week I'll have some more to say about Rage 2 from wrapping it up. We'll see.
Bye,
See y'all later.
Jeff.
Cool. Thanks for calling,
Thanks for
Jeff.
calling,
I have a
Jeff.
couple
Thanks.
of questions
Have fun.
for you. Hey, Jeff,
He hung up.
Oh,
damn it.
well,
Yeah.
great.
Thanks for calling in, Jeff.
Yeah, so that seems right.
Yeah, you played some of it. I
played like an hour and a half,
I
maybe
played
last
also.
night.
I'm also
Maybe
like
2
about
hours.
an hour and a half, 2 hours in, something like that.
I went to the closest dot on the map after I finished the tutorial and did that mission, and was like, okay, I'm going to bed now.
Yeah. It definitely makes like kind of a Far Cry-ish first impression when you look at the map, and it's like,
Oh,
here's
is there a
big
lot of
map.
icons that kind of pop up?
Kind of,
Not-
well, they
not a
add
ton,
in,
but-
they fill in as you drive around.
The thing that struck me in the tutorial at least was that it just dumps. It basically, instead of like doling out systems over the first like 5 or 6 hours or 3 hours, whatever it is, like X period of time, it's just like, hey man, here's 50 things that you need to know about how to play this game, and we're gonna give them all
is
to you
kind
in
of
the
a lot.
first like 6 minutes, and it's a
Yeah.
lot of text.
So yeah, the thing that's notable about it to me, or that stuck out, although some people are probably going to think this is kind of a strained comparison, but I got almost a little bit of a Breath of the Wild vibe at the beginning, because you get through the tutorial, and then the hologram lady is like, all right, here's all the stuff we need to do to beat the bad guy. Here are the 3 people that we need to recruit to do it. Here's where all of them are. Go meet
Go
them.
nuts.
Go do it however you feel like.
Yeah, like
Well,
and
I mean,
like,
I'm not in any way trying to say it is like Breath of the Wild, but it does have that like sense of like, well, here are all your major objectives for the game. Not here's your first one. Here's everything. Just go do it. Like they do. I think like 30 seconds later, she chimes back in saying like, I think this one is in the less popular. Like they basically say like, here's the easy person to go see first, but you can go do whatever you want. And every camp, if you hover over it on the map, has an enemy difficulty level.
okay,
So like
Oh,
there
cool.
are
Good.
camps even around the starting area where like, oh, this one is difficulty level 2, this one is difficulty level 6. So like it is just kind of a big open thing where some things are harder and some things are easier, but you can do whatever you want wherever.
it's funny. I didn't realize there was a map until almost 2 hours in the game because I hadn't really explored the menus because they're really clearly set up for gamepad and like mouse and keyboard. It's really hard to navigate them.
Yeah. Huh.
Like there's like Q's and E's at the top of the screen where you're supposed to tab from tab to tab.
They're also weirdly like laggy. They
Yeah.
are really stiff to move between
I
pages,
mean,
but
so I love the color palette. Like I love that they do a lot of like a lot of the interactive stuff is like obviously spray painted neon pink.
all the ladders are pink.
Yeah, like all the valves you turn, all the buttons you press.
Yeah.
All that stuff is really
All the like supply boxes full of upgrade currency have like pink or blue lids
or
and
green
stuff,
or there's green and orange like ammo crates and stuff like that. Like the individual combat, like the shooting feels really good. I love that the alt fire on the weapons is different than it's not just like a zoomed in version of the main gun. Like Jeff mentioned, the shotgun is a shotgun when you're hip fire and like a slug when you're alt fire,
Also
and the
railgun.
slug penetrates. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like if you get 3 guys lined up in a row, you can zap 2 or 3 of them at once. And there's like good ragdolls and stuff like that. The sound design's really good, which is always. I mean, games have typically been good at sound design. Avalanche has done well with that in the past too. The dialogue is probably the worst dialogue I've heard in a game in like 5 years. It is
Wow.
memorably bad.
Jeez.
Like it is. There was at one point that I was just laughing because what they were saying was both really long and exposition-y and also terrible.
It almost feels to me like they're trying to capture the tone of the first Rage, which was like the last thing you would remember
God,
about
please
the
don't do
first
that.
Rage.
No.
Like it was so like mundane to begin with, and this just kind of feels like more of that.
Yeah, so it's just there was one bit that really made me laugh though, because it's like the character you play, who's not a silent protagonist, said, "Oh yeah, like I'm going to stick my hand into this big scary dark hole."
Yeah.
And then when you go up to the thing, the prompt for it is stick your hand into this
So
big
stick-
scary
yeah,
dark
it's like
hole.
press X to stick hand into scary hole.
Yeah, it was very funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it feels competent.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's, I don't know, it feels like an old Far Cry game kind of.
Kinda, yeah.
In a like not like Far Cry 2 old, but
Yeah,
maybe
but,
like Far Cry
but like
3
the
or 4.
bandit camps that I've done so far are just kind of like you just run in there and get in everybody's face and murder them quickly. There's not like there's no
Yeah.
stealth options that I've seen. There's not a lot of like tactical variation.
Well, so like
So there's
what,
like a sniper rifle equivalent.
I haven't
there is.
seen
Like, can
one
you
yet.
tag
Or I haven't
enemies
found
and
one yet,
such,
but
or-
I don't think so.
you can snipe with that shotgun in the zoom in.
Oh,
Like,
really?
you can headshot, and like Jeff said, the assault rifle has no recoil and is
Yeah.
a headshot machine. The pistol is kind of like the Halo 1 pistol, like it is a 1 or 2 tap to the head kill. So like if you want to play that game, you can.
Cool.
And there's perks that are like stealth perks. So like if an enemy hasn't noticed you, I have a thing that does 4 times damage. Or
Oh,
5
okay.
times damage
So
or
I haven't
something when you
unlocked
hit
that
them.
stuff yet. Okay.
Like it's I feel like they made a bunch of the good part of Far Cry's where you have like those bandit camps where you can approach them however you want. I mean, with Far Cry you can do it with co-op if you want, if you have multiple people you want to play with. I don't think that's an option here. But I mean, it seems, I don't know. It's the kind of shooter that people don't really make all that often anymore. It feels like.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Seems like the word.
It seems under the top.
Lots of people, yes.
Yeah.
This seems to be the case.
The tone of those trailers was something
Yeah,
else,
like,
for sure.
yeah.
Like, and I was wondering if they were going to be able to, keep that level throughout the game. And
You
it
don't
doesn't sound like it.
deploy Andrew WK lightly.
Right. It's
No.
weird.
Yeah.
This game reminds me of Far Cry 5 in a few ways, of just being maybe like this year's kind of like pretty good shooter that a lot of people are going to have a pretty good time with.
It's
if they're just,
actually-
like, looking for games like that.
Playing it immediately, it super reminded me of Far Cry 5.
Right.
Like, it even came out at the same time last year.
And it also has that weird thing of like the initial marketing for Far Cry 5 was like, this is going to be like really political and like, and then
super
by
in
the
your
time the
face
game
and
comes out, it just
it's just
doesn't
like,
have
eh.
any of that
Yeah.
in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard the side activities get super repetitive. I haven't played enough of it to say for sure,
Like,
but
I fought a big turret last night,
so
which
I
was kind of fun.
By the very first random event, maybe they're not random. I think they might actually be.
Was it on the road underneath Underpass with the camp on the
I think
left?
that's the case.
Yeah. It's
So
same
yeah,
one.
the first event I ran into was one of those turrets, which are a huge pain in the ass to kill. My second event was another one of those huge turrets.
Yeah, no, that's
And I was
not
just
great.
like,
So the thing that they did a thing with the car combat that I haven't seen before, where there's two cannons on the front of your like fenders, it kind of Car Wars style, and they just kind of automatically lock on to whoever's the closest or the safest shot or whatever. So you can really it does make you feel like a real badass when you're driving around shooting machine guns out of the front of your car,
Yeah.
instead of just kind of flailing around and missing like you do in like every other game that lets you drive and shoot at the same time. Like that was nice. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of like it's an odd mix of polished and unpolished.
sure.
Like the gunplay and the driving and stuff feels really good.
That
and,
sounds really solid.
yeah, and like the dialogue is just like
Yeah.
there's just a lot that's messy.
And like I heard Jeff saying in the quick look, like he had not even had people in cars shoot at him for the entire game.
Yeah.
Up to that point, because
seems
like
strange.
Oh,
the cars drive well. The shooting from cars seems okay, but it sounds like they didn't actually weave any of that into like the core like gameplay loop.
Even,
I had
even when
people
he was taking on like the convoy, which is like a big like multi-car boss fight. It was just very like they would kind of run into him and use the occasional missile, but it didn't feel like they were like other cars were trying to shoot him down
Right.
and stuff.
I've had a couple like bands of go-karts or whatever drive by and kind of take pot shots at me, but then they just keep going. Like,
Yes.
it doesn't seem like it's like
Go-kart
core to what you're doing.
I flattened a couple of bandits that were just fighting other people on the side of the road and just drove mowed through them,
Yeah.
and like the pieces fly everywhere.
Yeah.
When you headshot people, the brains pop out, so you can tell it's based on an id property.
I got an email in that I don't think I put it in the list, but kind of complaining that like you've got all these cool powers, but they don't feed into was it overcharge? I forget what you're
The
like,
overdrive thing,
hitting the
yeah.
bumpers to pop your crazy mode.
Yeah.
Like that stuff, those systems are not linked up in a really intelligent way. Like say a Bulletstorm or something where you're actually comboing your powers together to kind of pop better stuff.
Well, it's unclear to me what the overdrive. The overdrive just makes me take less damage and do a lot more damage. Is
yeah,
that
and
it?
I think you get health back in some cases. I forget
Okay.
Is
exactly.
it slow-mo or anything?
It is
Slow-mo.
sort of
It's
slow
Slightly
down.
slow-mo. I wish.
But like if you jump off of a ledge or something, you don't fall in slow mo. You still fall at normal speed.
oh, weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like kind of one of Jeff's biggest issues that he voiced during the quick look was, the abilities are cool, but they're like looking at a 35-second cooldown for some of them. They're a little underwhelming in terms of actually doing the fight, just because you only get to use them a couple times. I think it would have been a really cool move to like, if you pop that overdrive thing, suddenly you can like spam your abilities or something. It feels like the game is, at least watching Jeff play, was missing like an ability or some sort of like alternate mode or something, just something that would kind of push it over the top and make you feel like a really ultimate badass,
Yeah.
I mean, because you're the last ranger or whatever. You're supposed to be this like, force of nature, but you're just a guy who shoots really well, basically. Like that's it. Kind of, you're good at guns.
Yeah, it seems like it has a bunch of individual, like well executed pieces that maybe aren't quite like combined into a whole that's super memorable.
Yeah.
From what I've seen so far.
I'm gonna crank up the difficulty tonight because I think that if the gunplay, like if the combat was a little more challenging versus me just doming people left and right, it might be a little bit more fun. Because right now the combat does like the story seems kind of soft. The driving around is okay, but a little tedious. Seems like if the combat was fun, maybe it would be more like maybe normal is not the right difficulty level to play on. I don't know.
Report back with your
I'll
findings.
let you know how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all play anything else?
I've
What's been going on around here?
I've been playing pretty much one game nonstop for the last week and a half, and that is the newest, hottest, most accurate medieval battle simulator.
Ooh.
On this side of chivalry, it's Mordhau.
Is that what that game is? I've heard a ton of people
Lord,
talking about
how?
it, but is it basically the next Chivalry?
It is, and so I was trying to do some research about the people behind it. I didn't know anything about this game until it was out. There's a Kickstarter game apparently developed by a very small Slavic team of like, it started with one guy. I think it's a team of 8 or so now. But I've seen like people talking about how they were like pro level chivalry players and stuff. So it's hard to get nailed down the exact chronology of events, but this is definitely Chivalry 2 in everything but name. So if you haven't played Chivalry, if you don't know what these kinds of games are, they're kind of melee combat focused medieval simulator games where you've got stuff, you've got your swords and spears and all sorts of medieval weapons. You got scythes and morning stars, and you can have a bow and arrow, but it's going to be less effective, and it's really hard to aim, and the projectile is really slow and stuff like that. It's very accurate. These are as accurate as it can be while still being a fun video game you can play.
Can you light people on fire with boiling oil?
Not boiling oil yet. You can light people on fire.
Okay.
But it's less so the kind of the way the game works is there's kind of only 2 attacks you can really do. You can do a stab or you can do a slash. But depending on how you're dragging the mouse you click to stab, mouse wheel, or click to slash, mouse wheel to stab. So as you're dragging the mouse, you click and you'll swing kind of in that direction. So you can go like an overhead slash if you go like start up and go down, or a horizontal if you go from side to side.
So it kind of works on like the die by the sword style.
Yeah, totally. And so like your defensive options at that point are you can do a parry, which will, you put your sword up for like, it lasts for like a half second. It's not a very long window. Or you can, I forget what the technical term for it is, but it's like an actual sword fighting thing where you attack their attack.
Or riposte.
You kind of mirror. So like if they're coming in from the left with your sword, you just also come in from the left to deflect it. Mm-hmm. And you can also like feint. You can do stuff where you start with a swing and then transition it into a stab just to throw off their timing, how they're going to react to you. So it kind of triggers a lot of those fighting game senses.
I was going to ask, are you doing a bunch of fighting game like command inputs, or is this just like free form moving the mouse?
It's literally just moving the mouse and clicking the button or scrolling the wheel. Yeah, there's no tricky inputs. Like it's very easy to just get. So there's a tutorial, that'll teach you all the basic stuff. And then at that point, it's very easy to just get into a big game. So the main mode is kind of a battlefield style mode where there's like 4 or 5 objectives, and you're capturing the objectives. And there's like a ticketing system where respawns is detracting from your team's total number of respawns.
So is this just a giant battlefield of people all fighting with this crazy detailed system?
Yep,
that sounds
all fighting.
super cool.
It's very small, so you're just like literally like standing side by side with most of your team as you're slowly trying to push back. There's like usually like very small ways to wrap around if you're just like kind of you're trying to set up traps and stuff. You can build like defenses and spiked walls.
Is it like class based at all, or are you going in with a loadout, or?
Yeah, there's like 10 default classes, and then you can build your own. There's dozens of weapons to choose from. It's and you start with a very basic slew, and you're slowly unlocking more items as you level up and getting currency. There's no like loot boxes. It's very much just like at level 8 you unlock this kind of chainmail, and at level 9 you unlock this kind of spear, and they seem relatively balanced.
Is it servers or is it matchmaking?
It is
like dedicated servers.
It is dedicated servers.
Okay.
Their matchmaking system is a little messed up where you can search by individual region, but you're finding a game isn't always the easiest in your desired region, or you can search worldwide. But I find like 50% of the time I'm ending up on like a server with it shows your ping.
Okay.
So you'll know right out the gate if you can make it or not. There's also a battle royale mode, which is actually pretty fun because it's a very small map. So small that like sometimes you just start standing next to 2 other guys and it's all just fists.
Oh God! I was going to ask if you have to find your weapons in that mode.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh
you
man.
just start, and the punching combat works the same way as like you can like go in for a feint and stuff like that. There's a dedicated scream button that has just like hundreds of different voice samples of people screaming. You can scream specific things like "Help me!" "Charge!" "Fall back!" Insults. Stuff
Don't
like
you
that.
Don't you get a loot in that game, like the musical instruments?
You can straight up equip yourself with a loot,
That's
and
fantastic.
there's a bot that'll let you play your own midis.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know.
When you're yelling insults, do they fit the Xbox code of conduct?
They do, as long as you don't read the chat.
Okay.
I will say this is actually maybe one of the most toxic.
I was just about to say about the
chats
chat
I've
in
ever
that this
seen.
type of game is
I
something
immediately
special.
turned it off. I mean, like honestly, it's mostly fine. It's mostly people like role playing and taking it really seriously. And,
I was actually
saying,
gonna,
like, only a coward would use a bow.
I was actually going to ask you if this game is fun in a ridiculous way, like a totally accurate battle simulator, or if it's fun in a hardcore way that makes you want to get really competitive and good at it and take it very seriously.
That's kind of the magical thing is the game sets you up for being able to do either. Like you can there are like dueling servers where you go around and like there'll be an 8-man ladder and you like duel the winners and go up like that. Or you can just like, be the guy on the field playing fucking the Seinfeld theme on your lute and then you spin it around so every weapon has an alternate mode. Like the long sword, you can flip it around and it's called a Mordhau grip, which is the name of the game, which is where you hit people with like the handle of your sword because it does more damage against armored enemies because it's a blunt weapon. Mm-hmm. But the lute, you straight up just start hitting people over the head with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I played a Chivalry game. I set up a dedicated server for Chivalry and played during the Extra Life stream.
Yeah.
And just played with people that were watching and had like a stupid good time. It was really, really fun. Like we're firing people in catapults at the other side and like the whole thing.
Are there any siege weaponry? Or?
There's like little, you can straight up. So there'll be random spawns like a little catapult you can use to launch back and launch things.
Can you fire people?
No, not yet.
Okay.
They talked about adding a lot of stuff. This is very much a game where friendly fire is all the way on. So you have to be very conscious of like how you're swinging your sword or, where you're shooting your catapult and stuff like that. You can also get on a horse and like ride it around the battlefield and, go in for like just swings on people.
Dynasty Warrior
Foot
style.
soldiers are just peasants.
Totally.
They don't matter if you get your own guys. It's all just fodder for the mill.
That's true, and that's why medieval combat is the truest form of combat.
Yeah.
But speaking to like the competitive, like taking it super seriously thing, so there's the normal tutorial, and then there's a button called Advanced Tutorial Guide, and I opened that up for the first time late last week, and it's a 17,000 word guide written by the developers.
Oh my God! Wow.
On every aspect of the game.
Okay.
So like you can, there's people, there's kind of like, memes in the community about like people who are like, I was a Chivalry alpha tester and I've played 1,500 hours of these types of games and like, you can get that sense sometimes. Sometimes you're in like a 1v1 scenario against somebody and they're just like deflecting all of your blows and just like spamming insults at you. And you're like,
so it's
okay,
like
obviously.
one arm, like checking his
yeah.
watch.
Actually, I'm not left-handed. Yeah.
And at that point, your best bet is like hope another teammate of yours comes because it's so fun to just like 2v1 a guy who can't really defend himself. Oh,
Can you
so
dual
many
wield?
things.
Well, I guess that'd be hard with only one mouse. I mean,
No, yeah.
Okay.
Well, you can have like sword and shield.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a ton of fun. It's
that
only
sounds
$30.
cool. Okay. But yeah, I guess what I was asking was just if it actually does have the depth for people to really get deep into it and
Yeah.
get very good at it.
I haven't messed with like any of those like super pro servers yet. I haven't even tried to like I'm feeling good if I like get if I go like 10 and 12 in a round, I'm like, oh yeah, I did a lot of work this game because it's hard to even get one kill sometimes. Like if you're up against a good team, like with good teamwork, it's tough. The one thing I'll say that was kind of a bummer, and they're working on it. They've already made some improvements. Is queuing with a party is a little bit of a bummer because it's really hard to find the other person on the map. They just added names over players like a couple days ago where you will point to someone. So you have to kind of like coordinate with your friends if you're playing on Discord and be like, okay, let's all meet by this
Meet
point.
at the windmill or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, you also can't queue for a Battle Royale as a party yet. They said they're working on that, trying to figure out what they're going to do for that. So
is this early access? I'm sorry.
it's not. It's full release. And I think even for what it has in there right now, it's worth going through the full release. It's just a ton of fun.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it's a great any game with a dedicated scream button. I'm on board.
Yeah, that's
with.
really cool. Especially that they did enough samples to make it fun.
Oh yeah, and in each of the different classes has like different screams, and you can pitch when you're creating the character customization in the game is incredible. You can make some really horrific looking soldiers.
Excellent.
What's the player cap on a server?
I think on the Battlefield one you can get 48.
Okay.
And then I think the Battle Royale is 36. Those numbers might be wrong, but it's enough where there's always a big fight going on and then a few little fights going on.
Okay.
Are there any spectating options? It'd be cool to like hop on one of those high level servers, but not have to actually play.
I don't know.
Watch people.
There might be, and the nice thing is when you die, you can spectate any player on either team. Also,
Oh, cool.
so you can like follow around a really good player and see what they do. They also in that combat guide, kind of the advanced combat guide, one of the first things they talk about is one of the best ways to get better is squire a really good player. So like find the top ranked dude on your team and just follow him around and protect him and see what he does and see where he goes and who he chooses to engage with and stuff. And I started doing that, and it is fun. Like you do feel like you're like I'm helping this guy. Like I'd be useless otherwise.
Hey, Gnome Slayer 420, do you need my bastard sword?
Here, I'll drop. Oh, I accidentally threw it at you. I'm so sorry.
My bad.
That sounds awesome. I need to check that out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll play that.
We have a quick look up.
We have a quick look up, and I plan on streaming some more of it.
Nice.
It's fun.
Fantastic.
What else y'all been playing?
Nothing really new.
Yeah.
Yeah, like letting my AI do my work for me in Mortal Kombat, just getting skins and stuff. So
That story's real good.
yeah,
good story.
It
Yeah.
is bombastic.
I'm so
for
sad
sure. It
that I
goes
had-
places.
So sad I had to miss that spoiler cast.
Yeah.
no.
We have a. If you go to the Giant Bomb Presents feed, we did a little breakdown of some of the plot of Mortal Kombat
expert
11.
the lore masters here.
I think lore explainers is not a giant
Lore
bomb brand.
explainers.
I feel like it is kind to Mortal Kombat to say that it has lore, but that's just my personal feeling.
It was always the one that had, like, even when I was a kid, it was the one that I was like, oh man, this is the one where Sonya's the prisoner and, yada, whatever. I
It definitely has backstory, but like it is just, especially those first 3 games had such a vibe of like they're just making up whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
Like,
Ninjas and robots.
like
and
they will,
a cop.
like
It
they
was
will
the
rewrite.
90s.
They will rewrite half of the Mortal Kombat universe in 2 sentences in an ending if they feel like it. Like none of it matters or makes sense. But whatever.
Remember how the story of Quake was generated?
Oh yeah.
2 nights before they shipped it, they were like, oh shit, we better put some story in here. So they just wrote one screen of text.
Something Slipgate. There you go.
Yeah.
Kill stuff.
Portals through time, kill demons. I don't know, whatever. Yeah.
Works for lots of modern games.
The
Yeah.
90s were a heady time.
Yeah.
Um,
I played all of Subnautica this weekend.
all of it.
I downloaded it on Friday because my daughter wasn't feeling well, and I was like, I can't play a game that I can't pause.
That was your response.
Well, no,
sorry,
so-
Sorry,
Daddy's
sweetie, yeah.
Daddy's got games to play.
Daddy's busy. No, she was sleeping,
Okay.
and like I needed
Just
something to
needed
kill
to be-
time, but I
just
couldn't
needed
like
to be
play
near-
PUBG or something
Needed to be nearby with
and,
something low key.
Yeah, and I needed to be able to pause.
Right.
Sure.
So that game is unbelievable. I was expecting just like to go build some cool bases and make a submarine and stuff and like do normal survival game stuff, but it does. I don't want to spoil anything because like it reveals itself really in an awesome low key way over like the maybe first 5 or 10 hours of a 40 or 50 hour game. It is super duper cool. And I was gonna go play the new one, but I was like, oh, I have never played the old one, so if I play the new one first, I'm probably not going to go back to the old one because I'm sure there's a bunch of new shit that's going to make the new one better.
Right.
But yeah, it went places. I was really touched by the end of
Yeah. Have
that
you finished
survival
it?
game.
I
played a
I
fair
never
amount, right?
finished it.
Okay.
But yeah, totally. I thought it was just going to be kind of a water-based survival game,
Yeah.
and it is that for a little while. But when you really start building out that base and are able to explore the depths better, it is really cool.
Once you go deeper, it gets deeper.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
guessing-
scary too.
I'm sure. Oh, sorry. Go
Yeah,
I
ahead.
was just
super
going to say
scary.
that it had some really terrifying, like deep sea stuff going on in there that I was not ready for.
I guess you probably didn't play the VR mode since you need to be around for your daughter.
So the VR mode is not great. Like
No?
it is a classic example of why you should not tack VR onto a game that was not designed for
'Cause
VR.
I figured if I ever played that game, it
Nope.
would be in VR because
I
I've
mean-
seen some people say it's like the scariest thing they've done.
It would be
in
terrifying.
VR. Yeah.
but the camera movement is not designed to be good for VR.
Okay.
I would not want to swim around in that world with the VR goggles on because I don't get motion sick, but I think that would probably make me not feel good. But yeah, it is a super cool game. I think I might actually try to go do a hardcore run where you only have one life
Oh
and
yeah.
see how it goes because I
Oh.
think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I checked out maybe a half hour or so of the new one.
Yeah.
And it seems to really just be more of the same, which, hey, I mean, I'll take.
Well, I mean, it's unusual to have I really like that kind of survival game, but I need games to have an end for the most part. And,
Yeah.
and like the fact that you get to the end of this and you press a button and it's like, oh well, okay, game's over. Here's your last save, and it's like 4 hours ago. By the way, before you get to the end of that game, save if you want to keep playing with all of your shit unlocked.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's really good.
Cool.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's kind of on my you should play this list.
You should-
it seems like one of those things you should have under your belt.
Yeah, it's something different, which is unusual now. So I'll play the new one in a few months when it completely overtook me for the last 3 days, 4 days, whatever it was.
Different and unusual.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, as is tradition,
Yes.
when you come by the office.
we're gonna talk about Dota.
Yes.
I love Dota.
All right.
It's my favorite.
Yes, your favorite game.
People, I love. Look, I've never played a game of Dota in my life, but I love hearing about Dota. I love hearing about auto chess.
I think
I kind of want to learn how to play auto chess.
I think we negotiated before the show started that each of you can have a certain amount of time for your pet game.
Yeah. Who goes
So is
first?
there a Dota minute and an auto chess minute? Because I can do both. Dual hand
Ooh, I
this.
don't know, those might have to. You might have to split your
Yeah,
time.
so
there.
that's just like a 30 seconds each.
I think I'll go 40-20.
Okay.
What's up with what's up with your battle pass? And then I guess we'll get to your battle pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this is my yearly Dota check-in. The big battle pass is out. You know, it's TI season. The road to TI has started officially.
Where's TI this year?
China.
Okay.
Is
I
this the
almost
year
said
that
Singapore,
China
but it
wins, or
wasn't.
is this the year Western teams win?
I don't know, dude. Everything's
lost
so up in the
track.
I
air.
don't know.
Last year was supposed to be a Chinese win,
And it
wasn't.
wasn't.
The
Right.
curse
So
was
they broke the streak.
But anyway, so the big battle pass is out, and I'm sure most people know what a battle pass is at this moment. But Dota was really like the first place I
Yeah.
ever saw it
Yeah.
in this form, and I gotta say, like 90% of it is the best it's ever been. There are so many new voice lines. There's so many things you can do. You can high five. There's a button where it'll put a big hand above your head, and somebody else does it also. You'll high five each other, and
That's
it'll say
awesome.
in chat like these two players high five. You can high five your enemies.
Okay.
You can dig randomly on the map because there's hidden treasures around the map, and it's just like a little 2-second animation where your character like digs, and sometimes like battle points pop out from the battle pass, or like a spooky skeleton does a
Yeah.
little dance. It's just like so many flavorful things like that.
I hear the hats are good.
The hats are incredible. There's like a bunch of little mini immortals in there. There's Axe without his axe, and so he just like punches people and spins around, does like the Zangief lariat and stuff. There's a baby invoker skin coming. Yeah, like a kid. They've gone like fully off the rails. Like, let's just throw it what happens against the wall and sticks, which is great because last year was a little underwhelming, just from a content side. Unfortunately, there is a couple things in there, but one thing in particular stands out as being like just straight up undeniably free to play, or not free to play, pay to win. Which is a huge bummer because Dota has come close to that in the past, but never really kind of crossed over. But they might have added this after you stopped playing so much, Brad. But basically, you can hold Alt at any time, and you can see stuff like tower ranges or the box where creeps spawn. In the jungle, like the pole box, and stuff like that. And kind of just another way to get information in the game is hold Alt. It'll display like additional text over spells, like oh, this doesn't work against spell immune enemies, and little tips and stuff. But they added a mechanic basically where you can hold Alt and the camps will tell you when, like in 14 seconds, you need to pull this camp and it will stack. And
So you don't have to keep track of the timers
so
yourself.
you don't have to like look at the timers yourself. You don't have to look up because not every basically how polling works is you can aggro creeps and they'll follow you around. And if there are no creeps inside their little spawn box, which is like a little box around their camp, it'll repopulate. And so the idea is if you keep stacking a camp, you're going to have like 4 stacks in there, and it's going to make it really efficient for your carry to walk over, farm it, get some quick gold, and walk away.
Yeah, I totally understood that.
Good. Glad we're on the same page.
More creeps is better than less.
Yeah, okay, more creeps is good.
It's a way
Got
to
it.
get your team more gold.
I've been trying to avoid creeps my whole life. I've been doing it wrong.
Well, they're basically holding your hand through something that used to be like an acquired skill.
Yeah, and it sucks because it's not. You have to pay $9.99 at the very least to access this.
Is this something that like you'll be able to unlock something in the future by playing normally without spending money to get? Or
no? And so like there's like a whole argument in the community whether or not it should be in the game. Like it should be. I think like adding more. It's not even accessibility. It's like Dota is a very confusing game, and so the more things you can make less confusing, the better it is for not only new players but people like me who have been playing for years and still could use a hand with like understanding things.
I mean, like reducing cognitive load is typically a goal in most game design.
Right, because it lets you focus
yeah.
on like your hero and your abilities and
Yeah.
the skill set that you are developing, rather than trying to remember if this camp stacks at 53 seconds or 55 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just a bummer that for the first time it really does feel like this is something where you are getting an inherent advantage for paying money.
That is completely counter to the philosophy that they seem to launch that game with, because that was the one game you could always point to and say this one gameplay wise, in terms of anything mechanical, 100% free.
Yeah, all
nothing,
the heroes
nothing
are
but
free,
skins.
and everything else is just a
Yeah,
skin.
that is a kind of a disappointing
So
progression.
is there like a free tier of loot and paid tier of loot where if you buy the compendium or buy this battle pass, whatever, then you get some extra stuff, but if you just play for free and level it up, you
No,
get stuff?
you have to pay for a battle. Even the basic battle pass
So-
is 10.
Yes.
So that seems to me like the kind of thing that should definitely be in we're putting a free tier in and you get like some whatever the equivalent of Brendan points are in
Yeah.
Dota and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's what PUBG does, right?
Yeah, that's what
There is
so
a
PUBG
free,
has like
there's a free battle pass.
so everybody gets the battle pass by default, and if you want to unlock the good rewards or the extra rewards, then you pay for the premium tier.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you just get
Call
like
of
something
Duty
every
2.
5 levels. Or
Okay.
something.
Yeah, Dota, you can't even start leveling the battle pass until you pay the $10.
Yeah. See, and with PUBG, once you pay the money, if you've already gotten to like level 30 and you pay the money, then you get all of the previous premium rewards at that point. So it's like I don't know.
Of course, I mean, PUBG is a game you buy for money. Dota is a free game. So
I mean,
there
look,
is-
I
there
put
is that
2,000
split.
hours in PUBG. I feel if I pay $10 every few months, I that's just I don't feel guilty about that.
Good for you.
Yeah.
It's just gross because even the copy, like even the text on, so there's like the Battle Pass page on the Dota website that shows all the features. It says something like, every support could use some extra gold. Now with this handy timer, blah, blah, blah. It's like literally saying
Wow.
you are going to make more gold on average in your games if you get this feature.
Now, how much would you pay?
Yeah, that seems like it should be part of the
I
game,
paid $60
or not part of the game.
for the super deluxe Battle Pass
boy.
with the levels.
Are you still playing a lot, Ben?
I play every now and then. I mostly play chess when I launch Dota now.
Okay.
But you know, my crew will still like, hey, we need a fifth. Hop on
Okay.
and play a game or two. But
They got me bad at TI last year, like literally the day of the finals, because there will be stuff in that in the battle pass that they explicitly say like, hey, this will never be available again. Like this is going away after the TI is over. Like you should get this now if you want it. And the background, like they'll do a full like super elaborate art treatment for the map that makes it look totally different.
Or like a reskin.
Yeah. And that's always exclusive to that TI. And if you don't get it,
yeah.
so like.
So what'd you
I
spend?
I got swept up in the excitement of the final. I didn't even follow TI last year. Did not care about any of it. I haven't played Dota in almost 2 years. Like, just got super excited during the actual finals. And I was like,
Yeah.
I should get that. What if I want to play Dota again someday?
It's limited, Brad.
I should probably get that map because
It's the only way you can get it, man.
I think it was at least $40.
Whoa!
Like, just for that map. Like, just for the map skin.
That's too
'Cause
much.
I had to buy enough levels to level it to the point where I could get that thing.
Right. Oh,
Like
geez.
they go after you hard. Like they stick the knife into your compulsive behavior. It's
Yeah. Dota's a weird game. Did you know they just had a major tournament at Disneyland Paris?
Whoa.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
I often think of Disneyland Paris when I think of Dota.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
esports
like-
and
The two
Disneyland.
happiest places on earth.
I read a really long post by a group of people who bought the like super deluxe tickets that like got you a swag bag and stuff like that. And the swag, it was just like a kind of, it sounded like fire festival levels of like, they had cold turkey sandwiches. It was the exclusive VIP lunch. Our swag bag was a bag that had a poster for the tournament and a Mickey Mouse doll.
Oh no.
Did you have to, if you bought tickets to the tournament, did you have to buy tickets to Disneyland to use the tickets to the tournament?
No, the super deluxe ones did. Otherwise, you did have to buy like a ticket and a Disney pass.
Of course.
Man, that's expensive.
Happiest place on earth, Will.
Video
I
games
mean,
are terrible.
Yeah, esports.
All right.
That's
PUBG.
it.
You wanna
PUBG.
hear about, so PUBG, they did the snow map, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each of the
It's got a
maps,
dinosaur park on it.
it has done. It's very good. It's a good
Cool.
map. People fucking hate it already, though. They're like the community is turned on it because it has.
Anything different.
It is-
Community
the
hated
w-
every new map.
The community
It is-
hates everything.
It is the way of
Communities
things.
always hate everything. That's the answer. If you put 10,000 people
It's
together,
at
they're never.
giantbomb.com.
Yeah, you guys are great.
We love you folks.
So they did the snow map. Each of the maps has kind of a little bit different flavor, right? Like they're different paces. The first one is the one that a lot of people started playing on, and you have to scrounge for loot for a pretty good amount of time. Then you go fight in the mid to end game.
That was the thing that I never played enough of to kind of intuit myself. Like you can obviously see artistically or visually what's different between maps, but like I never played enough to say like, okay, here are the rhythms of the first map. Here, like people said like, oh, the desert map has bigger wide open spaces, so like sniping is more important there.
Yeah.
Like I never got that level of nuance because I didn't sink enough time in.
So the bigger map is a little bit slower. You probably want to have a vehicle because it's a lot more landmass, even though it's still the same 8x8. And it is very much a sniper focus map. Like you're going to be your encounters are 100 meters plus for the most part. Whereas on Erangel, the first map, like it's kind of all over. Like there's submachine gun encounters in towns. There's big long range encounters across fields.
But there's more hills, more structures to hide in, stuff like that.
And they've kind of gradually added stuff to that original map to kind of bring it up. Like as they've learned more what people are into, they did the jungle map Sanhok, and that became just fucking Counter-Strike for 22 minutes.
That's the small map.
That's the small map, and it's small and has way more loot because there's fewer areas. But it ends up being like third-party central because you're fighting, and as soon as you hear somebody shooting, you just start running toward the bullets, and then you kill whoever wins that fight, and then somebody comes up and kills you, and then whoever's the last person to run up to the last fight wins, basically.
I hate to get third-partied.
It's not getting third-party stuff.
Love to third-party.
Oh, yeah.
However.
So then the snow map kind of was the best of both worlds, right? It's like a little bit of a slower pace. It's the circles are dynamic like they are on Sanhok, so in the original game, the circle speed is fixed in the first two maps, so it's always like the second one runs this size. It's this much smaller than the last one, and this much smaller, and the speed to close is this speed, yada yada yada.
Right.
On Sanhok and Vikendi, they're dynamic. So
I didn't know that.
if like a shitload of people die in the early game, then the second circle will be a lot smaller, but it'll move slower so that you can always run in.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't have to get a car necessarily. It always runs at foot speed. They haven't done that to the first two maps yet, but I think that's probably coming. But what they did do to the first map is they jacked up the loot, so it's like twice as many sniper rifles and DMRs on the map, and basically it's turned into like a wild action game. So you land, and like last night I landed in a building, and there was like a bolt action sniper rifle and 2 DMRs and an AR in like this one little tiny 4-bedroom building. So the whole map is viable. You don't have to just land on the cities, and you end up with like 50 people coming into the third or fourth circles. So there's these enormous fights at the edges of circles, and it ends up being it's completely changed the kind of mouthfeel of the game. And it's been really fun. A lot of people like there's more people playing.
They gave it more of a delicate bouquet.
This is a rustic earth tones with hints of black cherry
Notes,
and
notes
iron filings in
notes
the
of
finish.
Tangerine
So,
and
yeah,
coffee
exactly.
grounds.
It's been really good. If you haven't played in a while, it's worth coming back and checking it out.
Okay.
And
That's a hard game to come back to, though. I did that like 6 months ago for like 2 matches and was just like, I am not up to this.
The secret of PUBG is that solo is. I think Austin said this, Austin Walker, but PUBG solo is a horror game, and PUBG Squad is like you goofing around with your buddies.
Yes. Okay, sure.
And like I don't like horror games, so I don't really play solo very often. But I like goofing around with my buddies. So there you go.
All right.
Yeah,
there you go.
PUBG, it's good again.
Yeah.
So God Eater.
Oh
No.
Okay, let's complete the trifecta here.
I got nothing
How's
right
StarCraft?
now.
What's happening in StarCraft?
Bring
Brad?
an egg timer in here. Oh God, StarCraft.
Do people still play StarCraft?
Sure.
Yeah.
That remaster came out and people really liked it.
Yeah.
And people have been
Okay.
playing that.
I mean, I reinstalled it 6 months ago.
The Deuce
last,
or
last
the
fall,
first?
too.
Okay.
And like you can hop into a match in
There you go.
5 seconds. You'll end up in a 1v1.
What's your build order?
Pots, 4 gateway rush.
Okay.
Something.
Yeah, that seems good.
It's been a while. Y'all got any more games you want to get into?
I played that Konami
Yes,
Picross that you guys.
last thing we yes, I keep meaning to play Konami. What is it actually called?
I mean, how do you tell what an iOS game's name is? It's called Pixel Puzzle on my screen. I think it's Konami Pixel Puzzle.
Okay.
It's basically Picross, but Konami
Really?
sprites.
Okay.
Yeah, have you not seen this?
No, I have not.
Oh, so let me just show you, sir. Like this is a Picross. I did on the subway on the way here this morning.
What's it of?
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Can't
You
tell
can-
yet.
Is it
I
like
can show you my collection.
Yeah, I want to see some
Is it-
like,
I'm at
finished ones.
38.6. Look, there's a monkey from Monkey
Oh, wait.
Academy.
Yeah,
Okay.
there he is.
Getsuhuma, an ogre from Getsuhuma. These are a lot of. I've never heard of 90% of these games.
is there a puzzle of the wall meat from Castlevania?
There are a lot of Castlevania puzzles.
Okay. And that thing is like totally free, right?
It seems to have no microtransactions.
Yeah, we got an email about it like a month
Nothing.
ago.
There's Russian attack.
And the
Milan
person
Secret
said
Castle.
it's just free. It's not even free play.
That seems.
So I hadn't played it with sound on, and I was listening to music when I was on the train here, and I had my headphones in, and it plays like sweet chip tunes. It's really good. It's like music from old games.
Damn it! All right.
Sounds pleasant.
It is. There's an enormous number of Picrosses because there's like a million puzzles. There's like probably 300 puzzles, and then some of the puzzles are multiple levels. Some of them are gate. Like this one has 16 squares, I think. And each one is one puzzle. There's boss puzzles, which are easier, but like they're timed for some reason.
weird.
Like there's all sorts of weird places to put some really gross microtransactions in
Yeah,
here,
but
but
you
they
haven't seen-
haven't. I think I could, judging by the rate at which I'm unlocking boss puzzles, because you can only do one every 2 hours.
Oh, okay, so there are limits on.
Like you can do normal puzzles as often as you want, just never stop. And you get 3 slots so you can do those. So like if you get stuck on one, you can move on to another one. I think I could play this for the next year probably. Like
I just downloaded it.
It's it's very good. Highly recommended.
You know what's pretty good?
What's pretty good?
Picross.
Picross is great.
Hell yeah.
Pretty good.
We need more Picross 3D.
Is it
I
time?
kind of enjoy the simplicity of the original.
I like both.
3D's,
What about a Picross 3D in VR?
3D's
I would
fine.
totally do that.
That
Yes.
sounds okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I should make that right now. I bet that's easy. Picross 3D is probably easy. Everybody's makes Picross 3Ds, right?
Picross 4D is is the real future.
So the thing I'll say is that they did the Picrosses, like the puzzles are good. Like sometimes you play like a bad phone Picross and the puzzles either mathematically don't work for some reason because the people who make them are bad, or like they're virtually impossible and you have to buy hints because they don't give you enough information to like suss out the thing. These are
That's
good Picrosses.
that's devious.
Yeah.
People are putting out unsolvable Picross puzzles
Or-
with pay to.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's like
gross.
one
Or like
solution.
ones you have to guess,
Oh,
which
yeah.
sucks. You should
That's-
never have to guess at Picross.
That's just gross.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to ask you real quick before we move on to break.
Yeah.
What's up with the Valve Index? Have you touched that thing? I've been disconnected for the last week and change.
So I haven't actually spent any time at all with the index.
Since he mentioned VR, it just made me think of it.
The word I have heard is that it is. I have spent a lot of time with the Knuckles controllers because we're building stuff for the Knuckles controllers. They call them the index controllers now, but they're the finger tracking capacitive controllers.
87 different sensors or some shit.
Yeah, I mean the upshot is that they give you information, like they can tell where at what point hands are touching the controller. So unlike like the Valve Wands or the Oculus controllers, you don't actually hold them with your hands. There's like an elastic strap that goes across the bridge of your fingers,
Okay.
and you don't need to grip to lock them in place.
Cool.
So like, so you can open hand, and when you want to pick something up, instead of pressing a button or putting that little middle finger button on the touch controllers,
Yep.
you just grab the stick, and your hand wraps around whatever you're trying to grab.
Cool.
It ends up like it takes a little bit of adjustment because it's a weird logical leap, but it ends up being really easy and straightforward once
Sounds like
you
it.
spend a couple hours with it. So in that regard, I'm really excited about them. They also fix some of the like shortcomings of the original Vive ones, in that those touchpads are great for some things, but are really bad if you want like precise analog input or whatever. So they have an analog stick, and they still have the little touchpad, as well as I think 2 buttons per controller. So you end up with like the standard gamepad button set for
Right.
games that require a normal gamepad or some subset of normal gamepad inputs. The headset is basically the same as it's a souped up Vive Pro, which is a really nice headset. It's really expensive.
Did they announce a price?
Yeah, it's $1,000.
Yeah.
You can order it right now.
Oh my goodness.
You
shipping?
can order a piecemeal. though.
Shipping now?
You can order PDF. So if
Yeah.
you already have, the compatibility matrix is kind of a nightmare though. So
I'm sure.
by default, it ships with the Lighthouse 2.0 lighthouses, which are really great for a tiny subset of people like me who need no occlusion in their tracking space, because I do feet and feet occlude. So you can put up to 4 lighthouses in that space. The Vive. Okay, so what's the breakdown? You can't use a Vive 1, an original Vive, with the Lighthouse 2.0s. And you can't use the original Vive Wands with the Lighthouse 2.0s. But you
Really?
can
Okay.
use index controllers and a Vive Pro with the Lighthouse 2.0s. So if you have like a Vive Pro, you can buy 2 Lighthouse 2.0s and the index controllers and basically have an index. If you have a Vive 1, you can use your old lighthouses and the Knuckles, because the Knuckles controllers will work with Lighthouse 1.0 or Lighthouse 2.0.
Good lord.
And I think that the Index works with Lighthouse 1.0 or 2.0 as well.
Okay.
So you can buy just the headset. You can buy the headset and the Knuckles controllers. You can buy the headset, the Lighthouses, and the Knuckles controllers. But if you have the original Vive, you have to buy a new headset if you want the Lighthouse 2.0. I don't know why you would want the Lighthouse 2.0 unless you're doing shit that needs no occlusion,
Right.
or you're just starting from scratch.
That's a lot to take in.
It's a lot, and it doesn't seem. It's unclear to me. It's super. It's unclear to me how that stuff works with stuff like the Vive wireless kits and things like that, because those often use proprietary cables. So it's unclear if you'll be able to like plug a Vive. If you bought a Vive wireless kit, it's unclear if you'll be able to plug that into the Index.
Is that thing shipping now, or are they just taking
it's
pre-orders?
shipping later this summer. I think the pre-orders start shipping at like the end of June, and they're out to like September now or August now. The other thing that was announced last week is the Quest, which is Oculus's standalone ARM-based. It's basically like phone VR.
Yeah, it's like with a built-in phone, basically.
But it's 6'd off, and it has hands. So like where the Oculus Go was 3 degrees of freedom, so it's rotation and tilt, but no translational movement, forward, backward, and left and right, no strafing. The Quest does that, so you can walk around your room untethered.
It took me a minute to realize that you have made DOF into a word.
Oh, so degrees of freedom.
Yes,
Sorry, yeah,
yes.
That's how VR people talk, man.
Thanks. Yeah.
But you have hands, so you can play stuff like Beat Saber in that thing.
Okay.
So like,
I've seen just anecdotally people on Twitter seem pretty impressed with that thing.
it's pretty cool.
Because at the time when they announced it, it was like, oh, it's just like a what was the
Oculus
first
Go?
iteration? It was a Go. Was the one you
Yeah,
stick
the
your phone
Oculus Go sucked.
in. Like at
Oh
first,
no, that's Gear VR.
or that's it sounded like just a Gear VR, except you don't need a phone because the stuff is built in. But it sounds like it's actually way more than that.
Well, so that's what Oculus Go was. That's the thing that came out last year, which is basically for watching Netflix and doesn't have hands.
Okay.
The Quest is basically like an Oculus Rift, but without the PC attached, using phone hardware to render instead of a PC. But people have built, like, you can get Job Simulator, you can get Beat Saber, you can get all of your VR bangers are coming to Quest. And it like the analogy I've told people is that it's basically like the console. Like if you're looking for console VR, that's it, right? It's a $400 all-in-one, everything you need, and you don't have to dick around with a PC or a bunch of cables or set stuff up in your room or whatever.
Just go outside with it.
You can go. I think it has to be at night because it uses Slam. Yeah, and if the ground is too samey, you have to put like carpet or like. People have little throw rugs that they get at like Pier 1 or something.
Patterns on them.
Yeah,
or
like
something?
patterns on them to let's like serve as JV fiducials.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Is there a community out there for like what is the best rug
Yeah.
to use?
Look,
Are there rug rankings?
if you go to r/Oculus on Reddit, I'm sure that people will tell you which fucking rugs to get.
I
on
want to see
Amazon.
top 10 rugs.
Yeah,
for
Wirecutter.com.
Oculus Quest
best
usage.
Oculus Quest rugs 2019.
Great. The
Probably
internet.
that one that's like a little city from the top, and you can
Okay.
have like the car going around the road.
yeah.
I think that one's probably really good.
Pretty good.
Dynamic.
Yeah.
All right, before we go to break, we have a public service announcement this week. Did you know the Giant Bomb Premium is on sale?
Wait, what?
Whoa!
I did know that.
You did know that. You knew that.
I heard that.
You did-
You
I
told
heard.
me before we started the show, but I'm acting surprised.
Giant Bomb, thank you for playing the part.
Wow.
You play the
What
part
is
of
Giant Bomb Premium, Brad?
It's our subscription service.
What? You have a subscription service?
behind which
It's
you will
less of a
find.
subscription service and more of a
Let's say some-
fun-scription, fun-vis.
Let's say it's a lifestyle brand.
Let's pretend I wasn't in the meetings
Way
when
of
we
life.
incepted this thing 6 or 7 years ago, and I'm going to ask you a series of questions.
God, I forgot you totally were there.
Yeah. What do you get if you subscribe to Giant Bomb Premium Life subscription service?
How many videos could we possibly have?
How many?
How many premium videos could there be on the
10,
site?
15,
No.
20,
Keep
50,
going.
a million.
How many bowls?
Okay, well, that's
150
too-
billion.
That's too much.
How many
30,000.
bowls? How many bowls of Giant Bomb Premium brand cereal would it take to equal the fiber in?
200 bowls. But I heard that you can get all sorts of great franchises with Giant Bomb
Yes,
Premium.
shows,
Seasons
live
of
streams,
shows. Yes,
You
we
could
have.
be watching this podcast live.
That's right. We do this podcast live.
With
Of
the
course,
thousands of other people in the
If you're
chat.
watching live, you know that already. But if you're not,
Oh, wow. You can watch this podcast live?
It actually it's hard to remember. Sometimes there are people out there who just listen to this podcast and kind of don't even know there's a website.
There's a website?
There's totally a website.
Wow!
It's about video games.
That's not true. Nobody comes to a website about video games.
It's a website about video games.
That's amazing.
It's giantbomb.com.
How if I wanted to watch Dan Reichert in a tuxedo play an old video game, is that a
Sure.
thing that I could do if I was a Giant Bomb Premium life subscriber?
Well, I can't tell you if you want to do that or not, but that
You
is
certainly can.
available
That
to
is
you.
a service that is available to me.
We do provide that service. Yeah, we've got live streams every week. The East Crew just started the Giant Bomb Crime Crew.
Oh yes.
Whoa, they're doing crimes now?
They're doing
Sounds
crimes now. Yeah.
nefarious to me.
What are they doing? What's the
They're
crime?
robbing banks.
Well, you should,
What?
you should get premium
They're
and find
staging
out.
heists.
Tune in.
I feel like I need to know more about this so I can decide if I want to get premium or not.
They are a criminal
Well,
syndicate
good
over
news
there.
because episode 0 is on the site for free to watch.
That's awesome.
You can dip your toe in.
How much does all this amazing goodness cost me, Brad?
Until the 19th of May, which is this coming Sunday.
that is indeed. That checks out.
$35
That's it.
for 1 year.
That's
so
an
cheap.
amazing deal.
That's $15 off.
That's like less than 1 cup of coffee a month.
That's right. I did the math.
Yeah.
It's $2.92 a month.
Oh, I've got that.
Actually, it's $2.91.666 repeat
I've got that too.
cents.
I can't go to a movie in San Francisco with my wife for less than $35.
You can't. That's true. You could choose between 2 hours of mediocre
Or 3
cinema.
hours of Avengers, maybe.
Okay, sure.
I could go see Detective Pokemon.
Well, here's the nice thing. You can pause our videos and go take a pee in the middle of them if you
That's
want
true.
to.
What? I had to pee in the popcorn bucket. I got in real trouble.
All right, so I'm on the things under $3 page on Amazon.
Okay,
Here
what
we go.
can
I'm
I get?
frequently there.
For your $3,
Can I get a pocket knife?
let's see. You can get a coin purse,
Okay.
Sure.
Worse than Giant Bomb Premium.
women's lady retro vintage owl, small wallet, hasp, purse, clutch bag.
That's
Worse
pretty
than
cheap.
Giant
It's also
Bomb
a coin
Premium.
purse.
So
But worse.
$2.89. You know they're beating us by 3 cents, to be fair. But if you want to buy a coin purse
What
every
else?
month
You
instead, you
can
can
I
do
get
that.
a mechanical pencil?
How about a Funko Pop keychain, Stranger Things,
No,
Demogorgon?
thank you, sir.
Worse than Giant Bomb Premium.
Yeah.
I can say that one.
How about
full
it?
earnestly.
Funko Pop, Stranger Things, pen topper pens.
Oh.
That sounds pretty good.
They go on the top of the pens.
The Gorgon
see.
thing?
And
or
you
is there
get
one
to
for
throw your entire pen in the
the
garbage.
pool girl?
Oh
The girl
gosh,
that went in the pool?
here is a stylish tote bag featuring embroidered cartoon owls.
That sounds pretty good.
We should probably
But-
get some owls on the website.
But I still think
if
I'd
I-
rather have
I don't
Giant
know that
Bomb.
we can compete with this.
If I get Giant Bomb Premium, can I get an embroidered tote bag with your all's faces on it?
Oh, I don't know.
Not yet.
That would be
Not yet.
good.
I don't know if we do
that would-
Not yet.
Like cake. When I signed up for KQED, I got a tote bag and an emergency radio. That's all I'm saying. It was a lot more expensive.
Well, we
than
don't have
Giant Bomb
Yo-Yo
Premium.
Ma on our side.
That's true.
I don't
That's
know.
pretty
We
good.
should get
This-
emergency radios.
I don't know. Looking at this coin purse, larger than it looks, says Snickerdoodle.
Just like our
Okay.
site.
Yeah.
So can I put like a toonie in there? If I'm in
Maybe.
Canada, can I put my weird Canadian money in there?
don't
Just
know.
loonies.
I don't
Tony's
know.
bigger,
It has a hole in the middle. Is all I know.
like a donut.
Yeah.
All sorts of magic.
This deal
awaits you.
sounds too good to be true,
It's
Brad.
true.
And I have to do it before this Sunday,
It is.
May
It
19th.
is so good it can't last past this Sunday, the 19th. If you're already a member, you can of course re-up for another year at the sale price.
Yes, please.
That sounds great.
Yeah. You know, we don't talk about. We don't sell ourselves.
Yeah,
a
we
lot
try not to
here,
throw
so,
this
like,
out in people's faces too often.
It really means
But
a
this is
lot.
a damn good
when-
deal.
when
Yeah.
people can, you
Yeah.
know, take the time and check out what we have. Like,
Yeah.
you should check. There's tons of. We've unlocked a bunch of premium shows. You can go to our YouTube
Yes.
channel, check those out. There's a ton of really good stuff dating back for half a decade.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can get out
gosh.
there, get
Yeah,
a little
since the
sample,
beginning.
little
Yeah.
Are all the
taste.
Whiskey Media happy hours out there for free now?
I don't know.
You can go back and watch such great classics as people who no longer work here drinking during the day with gorilla suits.
God, you guys got really drunk a couple times.
Really drunk. Just completely like I had to
Blotto.
have Gina come pick me up. And then I threw up on the side of the road. It was bad.
After a happy hour?
Remember the one where we did the Jedi mind trick and we had to
Yes.
get really drunk in
Yes.
45 minutes?
That's the thing.
That's not a good idea.
That's the thing. It was mandated by the segment that you get that drunk.
we
It
had to
wasn't
get-
just you weren't just exercising poor judgment.
We
That was
overshot.
actually-
Right.
That was actually you doing it
for the content.
Yes, that's right.
Brad, if I want to give this to a friend of mine who doesn't have Giant Bomb Premium memberships, can I do that with this fabulous deal?
I believe so.
Oh, that sounds great.
Absolutely.
I believe that's the case.
Hey, Ben, I know I'm getting you for your birthday this year, buddy.
Oh shucks, you
we
know
go.
me so well.
Yeah. So yeah, there it is. $35 a year.
Giantbomb.com/upgrade.
Yes, that is the URL for sure.
Okay.
It's quite
Just
literally
take a
what
peek.
keeps
Is it
the lights on around here.
UPGRADE or UPUpGRAYDD?
Both.
Okay.
Actually, just the first one.
That's just the first one.
Now,
Okay.
now we're gonna have to, now we're gonna
yeah.
have to go set up all those custom URLs for this. Thanks.
I remember what a
Will.
pain in the ass that is.
Yeah,
Sorry
thanks a
about
lot.
that. My bad.
All right. Thank you. All right, we're gonna go to break. We'll be right back.
Wearing a seatbelt. You know,
Yeah.
you should do it.
Yeah.
People come up with all kinds of weird excuses, like, "Oh, I'm not going very far." It's like, I'm in a rush.
It hurts my neck.
Yeah, I'm too uncomfortable. And I just forget. It's like, don't kid yourself.
Yeah,
There's no such thing as a good excuse for not buckling up.
that's true.
Yeah. If you've used any of these excuses or others, you're putting yourself at risk of injury or death. In 2017, more than 10,000 people were unbuckled when they were killed in crashes. That's 51% of people killed in motor vehicle crashes that were not wearing seatbelts. No matter what kind of vehicle you drive, wearing your seatbelt is the best defense in a crash. Did you know that?
I do.
Well,
now.
you know it now.
I always just use an oversized child car seat, but
No, do not.
this seems way easier.
This is way easier and safer.
Yeah.
Even when you sit in the back seat, you still need to buckle up. That goes for when you ride in taxis or use like a ride-sharing service too. You're not even driving at that point. Buckle up. Cops are on the lookout and they're writing tickets, so why even take the risk? In 2017 alone, seatbelts saved nearly 15,000 lives. So do the smart thing and buckle up every trip, day or night. Click it or ticket.
I mean, in the pantheon of fast food or junk food mascot characters, I think Spot is probably top tier.
He's so cool.
I think he's.
I mean, it's kind of in his
think,
name.
I think
Spot.
Cool Spot is like genuinely inoffensive.
Yeah.
Chester Cheetah.
He's B tier.
You think Chester Cheetah's B tier?
it's because he's a new like creepy daddy Chester Cheetah, kind of like
He lays it on a little thick.
yeah.
Look, man, he's just trying. He's going. He's just hustling. He's leaving nothing on the table. Chester Cheetah wants to move some fucking Cheetos.
He's trying to leave a little dust behind.
Yeah.
Does be daddy.
What about Captain Crunch?
He's
Like-
great. He's a little one track though. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't have much character to
He's
him.
kinda
Yeah, he
losing
likes
it in
peanut
his
butter.
older years now.
He likes berries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's all about getting that booty.
Whoa.
Is he all about it? I feel like he's just kind of there.
We're gonna
He's
start.
just protecting the
We're
booty.
gonna start shipping
Tony the
junk food
Tiger.
mascots.
Tony Tiger, all time.
But the problem is
Number
Frosted
one.
Flakes suck. They get soggy too fast and they're
sure,
no good.
but
Yeah.
he's chilling
Well, I mean,
a bad
I don't.
product.
I don't love 7-Up either, but I think the Spot is all right.
Sure.
I find 7-Up to be completely inoffensive and you know when I want a 7-Up, it's exactly what I
I
want.
don't hate it. It's fine, but
It reminds me of my grandparents.
I'm saying I don't have to drink a lot of 7-Up to think
Yeah.
the
Me
Cool
too.
Spot is cool. That's what
Fair.
It
pretty
reminds
cool.
me of your grandparents.
Yeah.
The worst is definitely annoyed. I think we can all
Oh,
agree.
God damn it!
I always want to avoid the Noid.
Exactly.
I like the Noid.
The Noid was an anti-mascot though. He was the bad thing.
Yeah.
That's
He
why
was-
I like
yeah.
the Noid because he's so stupid.
Yeah.
The whole thing is just dumb.
That was back when you like if your pizza wasn't there in 30 minutes, it was free.
Remember that time?
Until deliver drivers
Until people started killing people
Accident
delivering
rates
pizzas,
started
yeah.
skyrocketing.
My
Neil Stephenson.
local Domino's is if you get the food, you're good. Like if you get the food,
Congratulations.
it's a victory, and that happens
Yeah.
about 2/3 of the time.
My daughter every time
It's an
we
adventure every
have
time.
3 pizza places that deliver, and one of them is Domino's. So like when I just like fuck it, I want to make food tonight, and I want something cheap, we get Domino's because everything else like Round Table, you can't get a pizza out of Round Table that's spending like $40 now.
Jesus.
And she says, Dad, just make sure they don't mess it up because they always mess up. All she wants is like
Aw.
a small pizza with pineapple on it and nothing else.
Aw,
And somehow they always like manage to put something on, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sad."
just
Yeah.
wanted my pineapple.
Yeah, I just wanted pineapple.
Damn it.
Don't at me. I don't want to hear if you don't like pineapple.
You're in a safe space.
Okay.
That's out of bounds for this
Okay.
I love
podcast.
it as well.
All right, let's get into the news for the week, shall we?
What happened?
Here's what happened. It finally happened. The craze that is sweeping the European Union has finally come to America.
Ooh,
Breaks it?
It's
Eurovision.
It's loot box legislation.
Oh, fun.
Yay.
I mean, okay.
It's about time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably bound to happen sooner
Yeah.
or later. Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri has introduced a bill called the Protecting Children from Abusive Games Act. Don't say
Hell
it.
yeah.
Don't say it.
Fucka.
Don't say it. No.
Fucka.
Don't.
What?
Nope.
It doesn't have an acronym.
It-
Fucka.
Let's just move on.
Pukfa.
Just
Okay, I got nothing.
they cite Candy Crush as a major offender.
The number 1 game in America today.
Is it still?
I don't know.
Probably.
Wouldn't
Why
doubt
not?
Probably.
Lady on the plane yesterday was playing it on her tablet.
I see people all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a guy playing Dreamcast games on his laptop the other day with
Lord,
like an Xbox
fun.
Duke
You
controller
can't do that.
plugged into his laptop. It was
Fun.
bonkers. Maybe even play PS1, but it was like, yeah. Anyway, this is good, right?
I guess so.
Loot boxes.
Well, okay, so the bill aims to ban loot boxes and pay to win. I'm quoting the Kotaku story. Their phrasing is that it aims to ban loot boxes and pay to win microtransactions.
Dota, no, Dota, get out of there.
In quote, and this is from the bill, games played by minors,
Wow,
which
that's games.
I feel
Somebody
like
Does
could.
that mean you can make your game M-rated and get around these?
baby.
right.
Let's
Right.
Well,
let's
AO
talk
and
about
nothing.
those Steam sections that I turned off last week when I learned that you could turn them off, and now I don't have to see them ever again.
I guess he clarified that is referring to games that are kind of designed for kids
Oh,
or targeted at kids, but this also covers quote games quote whose developers knowingly allow minor players to engage in microtransactions.
You know who
So
you
that's
are.
kind of also
Overwatch, Fortnite.
all of them.
yeah, but I mean, seems especially for mobile people to be a problem.
Yeah, sure.
I-
But there was there was some talk from the FTC. When was this?
I guess
Couple
Fortnite
years
doesn't have
ago?
Are
loot
there
boxes,
ESRB ratings on mobile?
Fortnite
Well,
has
so
battle
yeah, like
passes,
the
right?
ESRB
Yeah.
has like quickly already come out and said like, hey, we'd mandate controls, parental controls. The parents can already do everything. Leave us alone.
Huh.
They're clearly
Did you
very
guys,
anti this.
have you guys talked about the ADA thing yet? Do you know
No.
about this?
No.
I don't know if it's real or not. I need to ask somebody who does actual reporting in video games, probably. But the lawyers are apparently there was basically the ADA mandates if there's communication stuff, it has to be ADA accessible, and games with communication in them had gotten a pass up through the end of 2018. Then it wasn't renewed, so they didn't have to like if you have voice chat in your game, you don't have to have text to speech or speech to text for people who are hard of hearing or deaf or blind.
Right.
And it seems like they don't like the pass wasn't renewed, and maybe there's some lawyers going after people like for developers of games. Anyway, I shouldn't have brought this up. Sorry, this was a mistake.
No, that's fine.
Look, loot boxes are bad. We all agree.
Yeah.
Even ones with the cosmetics are not great. Like I'd rather
Yeah,
pay
they're-
$3 and get the thing that I want than
Yes.
200 and get the thing I don't want.
Playing
Totally.
Mordhau was kind of a breath of fresh air of remembering, like, oh yeah, this is how games were like not that long ago.
Yeah.
You know, in the whole grand scheme of gaming, it's like loot boxes is a very recent thing. Like, like a system where you can buy what you want or you have to play to unlock what you want. Totally fine.
As long if you can choose the thing, like I remember, was it Mass Effect 3 was the first one of those horde modes that had like the weapons and stuff were in loot boxes and you had to randomly unlock them as you played? Or was
I
it
do
Gears?
remember it
There was a
had
Gears that
something
had
like
that
but
too.
I don't know if there was something earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember it was just such a like I'd much rather have done a Call of Duty style grind.
Yeah.
So I knew that I had to get to level 50 to get the gun character that I wanted than to have to just keep randomly opening boxes hoping I got Morden.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Also, like, I keep bringing up Mordhau, just because it's all I've been playing. But somebody made a really good point in a comments of one of the posts where it's like the coolest looking dude on the battlefield has been playing forever because he unlocked like the coolest looking armor because he put the time in, and like it's like, you know, you roll up and it's like, holy shit, that guy knows what he's doing. But when you're able to buy any cosmetics right out the gate, or you're opening loot boxes and you get like a legendary drop and you just put it on, it's like, well, yeah, I spent money. We've lost that kind of like looking cool in a video game is so easy now.
Yeah.
Like especially multiplayer games specifically.
But like
Sure.
where it like kind of takes away the awe of a really cool costume or outfit or whatever.
I remember the first time I was in EverQuest and saw somebody with end stage, Scars of Velius armor or something in like the town. I was like, holy shit, this guy's how did he get this armor? So I didn't know anybody had done this on this server, and it was really awesome. I mean, battle passes. This wouldn't affect battle passes probably, right? Because like you pay.
I'm trying to think if there's an example of.
Well, like
A
in the Dota one,
randomness.
one of the things you can unlock is like a roulette wheel spin.
Oh, that's
and
right.
that
You're
that's
right.
a literal
All the
roulette
boxes,
wheel
Literal
spin.
gambling.
all the
Gambling.
boxes. Yeah, well, there's the roulette wheel and the treasure
And the
chests
treasure
are also
chests.
randomized
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
on the battle pass.
okay,
so
so then-
yeah, there's tons of randomness there.
but like the PUBG, Fortnite, Apex style, where you like know
It's
that
just-
at level 3
Yeah, it's
everybody
just
gets the same skin.
set
That's
to each-
okay.
That's probably
locked,
okay, yeah.
locked to each level. This doesn't sound like this would cover that.
I wonder.
I find it interesting that the statement the ESRB put out just uses the phrase loot box. I feel like
that is
I
kinda
feel like
funny.
that is
Well, they don't want to say microtransactions or
Well,
Randy
that's
Pitchford's
probably-
going to be out there on
yeah,
Twitter yelling at them.
sure. You definitely don't want to risk that, but I don't know. I feel like loot box is such a pejorative term already that I feel like they've just kind of lost the fight if that's what they're if that's the best kind of language they can come up with.
I mean, it's always important to remember that the ESA purports to represent the hobby, but really they represent publishers.
Yeah.
So like they're going to stand up against legislation of any kind, and they'll do whatever they need. Like the reason we have ratings on games is so that they avoided legislation, about Mortal Kombat and Doom.
I think
Right.
they've made it increasingly clear whose side they're on for the last couple of years.
Yeah. What do we feel like? Do mobile games have battle pass equivalents? I haven't seen anything that has that, but I don't play those kinds of games very much.
Do the mobile versions of the PC games that have battle passes do that? Like, does
That's a
PUBG
good question.
Mobile
Well,
have
Fortnite would, because it's just Fortnite.
Well, that's right. That's the
Yeah.
same everywhere, right? I don't know, but like, would PUBG Mobile have a version of their PUBG battle pass?
I haven't looked at it since the battle passes started in PUBG.
Hmm.
Like, I wonder if mobile games maybe don't monetize those because people are less likely to put $5 or $10 into a battle pass
Right.
type thing than they would at like 99-cent
99
random
cent.
transactions.
It's like how the worst price you can have for an app is 99 cents.
I really wonder what the future of this bill is. Like, I wonder if this actually has a chance of going anywhere.
Yeah, I want to
Like
see
this-
if they're trying to axe these sorts of things completely, or that just keep them regular, just in like mature rated games, or
Or are they
or
gonna
if there's a way to
yeah.
opt out of.
are they gonna ask you your birthday and you won't see microtransactions? So suddenly
Right.
we're all gonna be 17 again.
Yeah,
Ideally, this
Happy
would just
birthday.
like scare the industry, right? Into like pump your brakes, guys, roll it back a little bit, so we don't have to actually do
I mean,
a
I
real
think they're kind of doing
legislation
that
thing.
right now.
Yeah, that's already happening.
Yeah.
Right? Like PUBG pulled all the games pulled Overwatch and PUBG and Fortnite and all those guys pulled the random boxes from Belgium or wherever it's illegal now
Right.
in the EU. And like in fact actually I saw a thread the other day on the PUBG Reddit where some guy who plays in one of those countries is like, "Hey, can we do something so that like all these keys that I'm getting for no reason, I can do something? Can I turn them in for something or
Was that their solution? They just disabled that? They
if
didn't-
you're
they
in
didn't
one of
come
the
up with-
affected countries,
they
you don't.
didn't come up with an alternate scheme.
I mean, in reality, the crates, they haven't released a new crate or a new random crate in like 6 or 8 months or almost maybe more than that even. So like it's just people have shitloads of those old crates because it was $2.50 to open each one and the loot inside them was bad.
Yeah, and we're nowhere near a critical
Yeah.
mass of countries
Yeah, no.
banning this stuff for them to actually rethink these systems yet.
But like, I mean, like EA after Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront 2 was a bomb. Battlefront.
Yes, God.
After they fucked that up, then
Yes.
they seem to have backed out because like Apex doesn't have paid for blind crates.
They still have loot boxes, though. I mean, don't they?
Yeah, but
I
you
doubt
you can circuitously pay for those, right? Can't you
Right.
buy the currency that you can? Yeah, you could buy paid currency and then buy loot boxes with that. So
Right.
you can spend money on
Apex.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Apex loot
Can
boxes.
you though? I think
Yes.
you can just buy. I think you can just buy dudes.
I'm 99.9%.
I
Now
remember
you've got me doubting it, but I would have said absolutely you can spend real money.
you
on-
can spend
on
real money
random-
on
random drops.
upgrades for drops you already have, but I don't think you can buy boxes with money.
I'm pretty sure. I'm almost
I could be
positive
wrong.
you can,
Okay,
unless they've changed it. I think at launch you could.
I know
Maybe that's changed.
I know that after a certain point, like the in-game currency you get, there's like very little to spend it on.
Yeah, it's characters and
That's it. You can't buy more
That's
boxes
it.
with the in-game currency.
with the type you earn organically.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but then there's
You
the
can
paid.
get shards and turn those into
Like the crafting
into
materials.
crafting materials,
Yes.
but it takes a bazillion of those.
Yeah, and they just stop giving you them at a certain point because you stop getting them from leveling up every time.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
only way you get them is from leveling up. And when you hit the level max, you're just kind of screwed.
yeah.
I remember when I heard that like you stopped getting rewards after level 100. I was like, that sucks. What am I gonna do after I hit level 100? And now
Yeah.
here I am, like 3 months later. I'm still like
Not been a
level
problem.
28 or something. Like maybe it's not actually that big an issue.
I think I hit 70.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's respectable.
Yeah.
Great game.
Yeah.
So here.
Yeah, I wonder how much of a push this thing actually gets.
This is the kind of
Like,
bill.
Is this the kind of thing that's going to like thread the needle of partisan gridlock in Congress and that actually everybody's going to
sure.
get behind, or
It's-
probably not?
It's the kind of thing that like if you're putting it out, you're like, look, I'm watching out for the kids. There are all these predatory big city tech video game people preying on our kids here in Arkansas, back home in Little Rock,
Missouri.
back home in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
Not to get into the weeds, but I really don't think that's his angle here.
There's already been a bunch of countries that have, said that like loot boxes in general are not gambling. Correct?
Yeah, that's
Like
part of this ESA statement. Is
Oh yeah.
numerous
It really
countries,
snide.
including Ireland, Germany, Sweden, Denmark, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK, determined that loot boxes do not constitute gambling.
because you can't take money back out of the system.
I guess I don't know what their rationale was, but that's where they go on to say, like, we look forward to sharing with the senator the tools and information we already provide that keeps the control of in-game spending in parents' hands. Parents already have the ability to limit or prohibit in-game purchases with easy-to-use parental controls.
I know a lot of parents, and the parental controls not easy to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also assuming parental oversight is the same in every case.
Well, I mean that whole spiel, that side worked for like cigarettes of like it's up to the parents, right? So why not for video games too?
Also, it's kind of offensive to me that the angle is, hey, we're not allowed to use predatory psychology and gambling addiction to market to kids, but adults, it's probably okay.
I need a parent when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Once you turn 18, let the fucking go to the races on
Little
gambling.
Brad over here spent $40 on a Dota background, and he doesn't even play Dota anymore. It's a predatory behavior by these big city slickers.
Personal responsibility. You're supposed to lift up your gambling debt by the bootstraps.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's what it is.
Let him break a couple of kneecaps. You'll be fine. They grow back.
Yeah. Sony did their second State of Play last week.
Yeah.
Which you guys
Yeah,
did,
Jeff
did
and
a
I
live stream over.
Check that out. It was over all too quickly. Yeah.
I downloaded it to watch on a flight yesterday, and it's like 13 minutes long. Like, I was kind of shocked.
Is this their Nintendo Direct
Kind of
type thing?
Essentially.
But it's not. It's again, it's a little more brisk and kind of straightforward than that. Like, they really just kind of whip through the games.
Yeah, that's not a deep dive. It's a series of trailers. For
Yeah,
the
it's
most part.
kind of mostly trailers. Like, some games are new, some things are being announced via trailer, but it's not like. So far, you're not going to get like like the goofy flavor stuff that you would see in a lot of the Nintendo Directs of like
You won't have Reggie
and
with some
Iwata like
After Effects business.
Smash Brothers fighting or whatever. It's not that elaborate so far, but
unfortunately,
they did end with a new trailer for the Final Fantasy VII remake.
yeah, that looks pretty
Which-
fantastic.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
Are you into it?
Yeah, I'm absolutely.
People
into it.
people
I'm
generally
pretty into it too.
most people seem to be pretty into it. Maybe I should withhold judgment.
Is
Yeah,
it still a
it's-
JRPG?
Well,
It looks
we
more
know?
like a
we've seen a lot of JRPGs kind of take that Western approach to active battle systems.
yeah.
Okay.
It looks
as of late,
very
so
very
yeah,
much like an
totally
action
think
oriented
so.
Okay.
battle system.
Yeah, people were saying it looked more similar to like 15
Could be.
than
Yeah.
a 7.
It looked like
so
you
you think they took like the combat system from one of the more modern games?
probably not took it that system directly, but it's
Right.
similar to that. I mean,
Okay.
it looks like you have direct control over the characters and move them around and hit things.
Looks like
manually.
you can mash an attack button.
But there are commands down in the bottom
Mhm.
corner of the
Okay.
screen, so it seems like some kind of hybrid system, maybe.
I think just purely visually, it looks really
It looks
good.
really nice, like fidelity wise and everything. It looks great. Like I mean, I guess the only thing I would say against it is that it looks kind of predictable.
How big is Cloud
Like
Sword?
like everything looks like exactly like I would expect it to look. It doesn't seem like they're taking a lot of. Maybe it's because it happened before I got to watch the thing, and a lot of the stuff I saw was people saying like, "Oh, it's its own thing." They're like doing their own creative take on Final Fantasy VII, and then I watched the footage and I was like, "That looks exactly like a high res version of that game." Like just in terms of character designs and backgrounds and everything, like the art style is pretty spot on, which I guess is the point.
That seems like the point.
Have
Exactly,
they
yeah.
said still if this is going to be like episodic how they originally?
They haven't really like addressed that again since they said that. What was that, like 2 years ago or something that they said that or more?
Yeah,
And they,
maybe
like,
more.
took it away from like Cyber.
Yeah, they canceled the old version and brought it in house.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're far
they've
along
never
on this.
come out and contradicted that, so I guess it's still safe to assume that that's the case.
Well, the stuff that they showed was all from the first world.
Yeah,
right?
it was like all from the
Midgar.
starting area of the game, so that probably. I mean, it looks kind of expensive, so
How
would not be surprised if that's still the case.
Final Fantasy? I never played Final Fantasy VII because it was a PlayStation game, right?
Yes.
So it's like, is it like a 100-hour game?
In my memory, yes, but then
Yeah,
I feel like people.
say a good 80 hours.
Is it really?
Like you got to. It's the normal loop where you start out really weak, you build a party.
How do
and then you
we?
level up,
Well, yes,
level
it
up,
is.
level
It is
up.
absolutely very much like
Yeah,
that
okay.
formula. How do we feel about how long to beat?
It's pretty good,
Do we trust?
especially for like
Yeah.
established games.
It gives
Yeah.
you a good range,
Yeah,
Main story 38 and a half hours.
but
Main plus extra 56.
You got that Golden Palace, man. That's going to eat up another 20 hours
If you
at
wanna-
least.
if you want-
Snowboarding.
If you want to beat all the weapons,
Yeah,
the completionist figure is 89 hours.
that sounds right.
Is the sword still real big?
If you want to breed all those chocobos.
Hell,
Large.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it looks
Okay.
like it.
Quite large.
I don't think he could really carry that if it was a real life thing.
Just
It's too big.
He
It'd
makes
be
it
top
look
heavy.
so light in Smash. He's just like whipping it
Yeah.
all around
Yeah.
in the air and stuff. It's impressive.
It's got good forearm strength.
Yeah.
magic. It's a magic sword.
Oh, magic. I forget.
Yeah.
I forget about magic,
Magic.
a lot.
Yeah, magic is the answer
That'll
when you
get
have
you.
questions like this.
I don't know. I just have the curmudgeonly attitude of 7 was just another Final Fantasy that I didn't like quite as much as the one before it.
Yeah.
What's
and,
the
and not like it was like my most formative video game experience or whatever. So I'm just kind of like, fine.
I have strong ties to it, but like not nearly as bad as some people do.
Yeah.
what's
They
the
can,
good
they
one?
can mess with this.
I
4, 5, and 6 are all really good.
6 is my personal favorite by a
6
mile.
is
Yeah.
SS3.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That was
People
good.
have an affinity for 10 and 10-2.
I like 10 actually quite a bit. I like 10 more than 7.
Okay.
I don't know. Final Fantasy got weird though.
Yeah.
There are things you could say about most of the recent ones.
14 still has a very active community.
Yeah.
They're still getting
That's
new
the
like
MMO?
dungeons and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second MMO.
Yes.
Okay.
11 was the
people
first.
people like 11 a lot too.
Yeah.
They say we're going to see more of that in June.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
Ma-
say
what's happening in
E3
June?
perhaps.
Is there an event? Is there something?
Let's say perhaps the second week of June is when we will see that stuff. So yeah, maybe they'll do like a deeper dive on the
Do you think
gameplay.
Jeff's seen it right now?
I don't know.
Could have already played it.
Oh my god. Get him back on the phone.
He's not picking up.
Damn it.
We tried. Was Matt Rory around last week when they announced the new Ghost Recon?
Did
anybody get him
He
live?
kept talking about the Punisher guy. That's all I know.
Okay. He is easily the biggest Wildlands fan I have
Yeah.
ever met.
And only.
That game's neat. I like that game.
I know people who like that game,
Yeah,
but I don't
sure.
don't hear a lot
Jeff
about
seemed
it.
to like it okay
pro
too,
or con.
But yeah, it was okay. It's just so straightforward and not really as dynamic as I was hoping for.
It became a weird thing over time. Like
Yeah,
they
the
really worked on
Predator.
it.
They threw the Predator
Yeah.
in there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and they did that Sam Fisher mission.
Yeah, they well, and the game seemed to kind of change. Like it started out really straightforward and just like not great, and then they made it better.
Yeah,
Killing
I think
dudes
they
in
did add.
cartels
Well,
and-
Ubisoft is really good
Yeah.
about supporting games post-release, but it was just kind of like generic open world at launch, and that didn't really grab me. But anyway, they have announced Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint,
Which is Wildlands 2.
which I guess what's that?
Not Point
This is
Break.
essentially Wildlands 2.
Might as well be the sequel to
Colin
Wildlands,
Barenthal.
I guess.
Huh.
It's set in a fictional country this time instead of Bolivia.
Wait, that was Bolivia?
Yes.
Oh man, that's not cool.
Also, they portrayed it as a full-on like corrupt narco state,
Drug
Really
cartel.
shitty place.
run by crime lords.
Man, I'd be pissed if I was from Bolivia and that was my video game world.
This sounds interesting. People got to play it. I know Alex actually went to see it. I think they probably talked about it more on the Beastcast. We didn't get a chance to see it out here, but it sounds like it's got a ton of survival elements to it.
Yeah.
I read this.
Like you're doing active maintenance on your guns. and
Yeah,
whatnot.
where is
Can you
it?
build a base?
I pulled up.
There is a base.
Is there a
component.
submarine?
Oh, I hope so.
Fingers crossed.
I pulled up this hands-on story from Polygon that says you'll have to eat rations and stay hydrated to maintain your health and stamina.
Fun.
Perform weapon maintenance to keep guns working and accurate.
Super fun.
Treat injuries that will otherwise affect performance.
Okay.
Can I
that's
get
really
blood
fun.
poisoning?
You'll do that at safe zones, bivouacs, scattered throughout the island.
Reefer Madness is the only thing you can get it, weirdly enough.
Oh no, that was the Bolivia one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like scavenging resources, crafting bandages and rations.
Is this like a jungle again, or is it
It
urban?
looks-
or
I mean, they said the
It's all over
island
the
kind of
place.
runs the gamut of environments, but most of the footage they
Okay.
put out is in a jungle so far.
Sounds
And
good.
there's a team of rogue ghosts out there called wolves.
Oh man, they have drones,
Ghost
right?
wolves.
Yeah.
Rogue
Lots of drones. Yeah.
Wait. Sorry, what?
Also, there's a
Rogue
shot. There's a
ghosts.
shot in the trailer of somebody just straight up sliding a rifle into a rail on the bottom of a drone.
Isn't there like a thing
Perfect.
about like the drones and started making more drones and their
Oh, maybe.
drones are out of control
Von
now?
Neumann drones?
Yeah.
That's
Entirely.
bad.
Yes, there is a drone factory
Oh shit!
Ah.
on the island.
I saw that in the second Star Wars
Is it
movie.
run by drones?
Someone I know who went to see this game at that event came out of it saying like expect some Breath of the Wild comparisons when people see this game.
Oh, are we finally into the time when the people who played
Oh,
Breath of the
yeah.
Wild have had
Like
time to put that shit in their games?
between this and Rage, and again, I feel like the comparison with Rage is very tenuous, but like there's a little bit there where I look at that and go like, okay, maybe some of these ideas are starting to.
Late 2019 into early 2020. We're
Yeah,
gonna start
3
getting
years. So there was a moment. I'm sorry for going, but there was a moment in Rage where the game taught you to drive towards stuff that was pink, and I was driving through the world, and I saw some flares on the ground that were like pink and green. I was like, I'm going to drive over those flares because that's probably where I'm supposed to go. And then there was just a cliff that went to nowhere, and I died.
Oops.
They got
Yeah.
you.
They forgot
Yeah.
that part.
Hoisted.
They got you.
I'm interested. Like this is co-op only, right? So there's no like.
I mean, you can play it single player.
well, right,
but
like,
it
you
is
should play this
4-player
with
co-op.
friends.
Yes,
yeah,
it sounds like they want you to team up.
yeah. That's not. I mean, look. Turn the dialogue off. Get in there with your friends. Do some weird shit.
It sounds more interesting to me than what Wildlands did, which ended up being pretty boilerplate to me.
I mean, for me, it's neat. Anytime you can get in a vehicle in a co-op video game with 2 or 3, 4 friends, whatever, and like enjoy some janky vehicle physics in a multiplayer game and shoot some trees and hunt the predator, I'm in for that.
I thought
as the Punisher.
What?
Yeah.
He's a bad guy.
I thought you said.
Oh, is he?
Hunting
Wait, he's the
Predator.
bad guy.
He's the
I thought
bad
he was
I mean,
the
guy.
bad-
look, I'm not going
Oh.
to kink shame you,
Well,
Brad.
you can hunt the Punisher then,
Right.
Instead
Okay.
of as the Punisher.
Can you wear his head as a hat? That'd be cool.
This
Well,
isn't Monster Hunter.
But what if it was?
Then I
Jason.
would be into that.
Don Barenthal's Monster Hunter.
EA had their fiscal year 2019 financial results conference call
How'd they do?
last week, and
Ape legs.
and they allowed that Anthem did not live up to their expectations
Wow. Creatively or financially?
financially.
Oh, okay.
Of course,
You
if,
don't
if you
say.
remember, I think their expectations were something like 6 million copies in 6 weeks or something like that. So
How'd they
they
do?
did not.
They get close?
I don't know if
8
I
copies.
said exactly.
In 8 weeks.
But
And I bought 2 of them.
Do you think this is going to affect like their EA Access putting all of their brand new games on the $15 a month, $10 a month service or whatever it is strategy?
how so?
Well, I mean,
Well,
like I would have paid $60 for a copy of Anthem, but then since I had
Oh.
EA Access, I paid $12 or whatever for it, and I didn't have to spend another. Like they lost $45 in revenue on me because I immediately canceled EA Access.
yeah.
after I
Oh,
stopped
okay. That was the
playing
question. Is
Anthem.
the question is, did you then go on to continue paying for EA?
Yeah, did you
access?
forget
Very
to
easy to
cancel?
cancel. Very easy to cancel.
Is
It
are you
was.
being sincere?
No, I'm serious.
Really?
You go. I went and
Yeah.
hit a button on the website. It
Oh,
took
wow.
like 2 minutes.
They
Yeah.
don't. They
Yeah.
don't try to.
I didn't have to call or talk to
They
anybody.
don't
I
try
expected
to
some
they
shenanigans.
don't try to stonewall you.
No.
You have to open a box.
I mean,
with
they
a
asked
key
why you were
inside.
canceling,
So-
but-
You have to get the magic key to disable the service. It costs $2.50 to open each box.
So kind of in talking about that game not meeting their sales expectations, Andrew Wilson, who I can't help but read any quote by him in his voice,
Okay.
in that like he just sounds like such a stereotypical like corpo villain.
I mean,
Like he just ever
Remember
since
the whole
the
Mirror's
Mirror's Edge 2 thing, like I can't get that out of my head.
Is he the bad guy from the
Like
Syndicate?
the guy.
he's the bad guy from Mirror's Edge
Like
2.
there's an uncanny resemblance between him and the bad guy, the evil CEO from Mirror's Edge 2.
Wow.
Anyway,
Wheels on them.
he basically used this as a vehicle to talk about like, hey, I mean, not like this is a surprise to anybody, but like, hey, the way that we make and release and sell games is changing because the old way doesn't really work anymore.
Just whatever they didn't
Here is
work.
the money
It works
quote.
for some people.
Here's the money quote to me. And apparently they've used this term before, and I've never heard it. I think this is EA talk. You're moving from what was initially a BioWare game, which would be somewhere between 40 and 80 hours of offline play, to 40 to 80 hours of offline play, plus 100 or 200 or 300 hours of Elder Game
The Elder Game.
that happens with millions of other players at scale online. What the fuck is Elder Game?
It's talking about the
I mean,
post-game
I know what it is, but where did
Elder Game.
Elder
Look, they
Game?
they don't talk about what other people are doing, so they don't know what other people call
Oh,
it.
right, yeah. You can't say post-game content around here.
No, you can't say raid. We're calling it a coordinated boss encounter, a CBE.
Yeah. He basically referring to their, the old model of putting out games. He says as games have gotten bigger, the old system isn't working as well as it has done in years gone by.
So what's the solution?
Early
The
access.
gamers are wrong.
Yes.
They will adapt. Give them time.
Honestly, it sounds like they're kind of doubling down on some of the stuff they've done already. What you should expect from us is that it's not just about changing development processes and QA process, although both of those things are being changed inside our organization, but it also comes down to changing how we launch games. You should expect that we'll start to test things like soft launches. The same things
Yeah,
that
like
you
4
see.
different betas.
The same things that you
But they
see
weren't
in
early
the
enough to
mobile
make a
space right
difference.
now.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, if they had actually rolled out Anthem and listened to and done it early enough that they could still listen to the feedback and hadn't spent a shitload of marketing money with ads and stuff for that game on buses, then they could have held it for another 6 weeks. And done more work.
Maybe my definition of a soft launch is different than what they're talking about here, because I almost feel like they did soft launch it to EA Access.
So no. So in mobile,
But you're talking about like
in
this,
mobile.
you're talking about more of like a stealth launch, right? Like kind of quietly put it out to the hardcore.
No. So in mobile, like in New Zealand and
Oh, it's
Canada,
the
the small
territorial
English
thing.
markets, they'll release a mobile game sometimes like 6 months early. Maybe not that much, maybe multiple weeks, and then they'll tweak the economy and stuff like that while it's in those places, and then crank it up.
I mean, at that point, it just comes down to like what you call it, right? Like if you just come out and say, "Hey, this is early access, this is an alpha phase, whatever."
This is the same team though that took out the raid chests.
The fun stuff.
The literal only fun thing that was left in the game that people were excited about. They recently took it out because people were like exploiting them.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah. So like I don't know if they would have. I feel like they were just so off the mark on this.
I mean, that
was going to mess with the Elder game, so they had to take it out.
It takes a long time for a company as big as EA to shift core practices, right? And the thing, like Ubi was smart in a lot of ways in that they realized that the live game thing was happening before anybody else did. And a lot of like if you look at what they did with like For Honor and Rainbow Six Siege and stuff like that, those games have had really long lifespans because they invested a ton in them, even though they maybe didn't launch great. And like for EA, like EA's normal move is the moment it doesn't sell 40 million copies in the first month is just to pull flush it and move on to the next thing. And if they're realizing they can't do that anymore, that's probably good if you like the franchises that EA has and the games that they make.
They did say as part of this that they are standing behind Anthem and they're going to stick with it.
Circle in okay. So good luck with that.
Say anything about Apex?
Not in this story that I've seen.
That's unfortunate.
I'm sure there's something in there,
Sure.
but it did not make headlines. I didn't.
You think they'd be like touting the one thing?
I'm sure they did, but also, I mean, I guess we don't know how they've monetized it.
Yeah, I wonder what their ARPU is for Apex, right? If
I don't want to know about their ARPU.
Active revenue per
never
minute
want
played or whatever. Anyway, I'd be interested to see how many people are still playing that Battle Pass because I bought the Battle Pass and I was like, I don't really want any of this stuff, and all the people that are playing this are much better than me now. So
yeah,
there's a bunch of other kind of jargony sounding corporate speak in here about. It also comes down to changing how we communicate with players. Our entire marketing organization now is moving out of presentation mode and into conversation mode.
Oh, yeah.
And changing how we interact with players over time.
Nothing I like more than converse with a brand. Skate 4.
Yeah, they're just going to reply to every Skate 4 post with Skate 4.
Hey, I'd like to converse with you, player.
No.
Why not?
But I'm your friend.
Hey, have you heard about our new game, Skate 4?
It's me, your
Silence
favorite brand.
We're in conversation mode here. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, God, what a fucking...
Have you seen my deck? Check out my sweet deck.
Get out of my DMs. Stop talking about your deck in my DMs.
All right, I just
Only
happened to...
3 good slides.
I happened to come across this right before we came in here and threw it on the pile. This is the perfect time to talk about it. Because it's about a brand tweeting at another brand on Twitter.
Oh, no.
Is it like Moon Pie and Chevys?
So Netflix is teasing some video game announcements for E3.
Why is Netflix teasing video game announcements?
Well, I don't
They have
They've
know.
been
interactive
doing the like
games,
interactive Minecraft.
Can I make Bear Grylls
thing.
drink pee?
No,
So-
he'll do that on his own, just kind of whenever.
I think this might be the moment that I just gave up trying to understand corporations on Twitter. This came out of the NX on Netflix account. Does anybody have a clue what that is?
NX.
It's
Yeah.
it's the Xbox One's account on Netflix.
The first
Wasn't that the NX?
the
Or
first
no?
line of the bio on this
Nintendo.
account,
It's a Switch.
You switch, yeah.
like the first line of the bio on this account is "It was me, Dio." Like they literally just throw a random
Anime?
JoJo's
Is this the
Bizarre
anime
Adventure
Netflix anime account?
Multiple universes, one home is what the banner says. Welcome to NX, the Netflix space, to live everything super, sci-fi, the fantastic, and beyond.
I see a lot of anime on this
I
page.
want to, yeah.
Man,
I see some Baki.
I watched One Punch Man, and now my Netflix is just anime and Thor. That's all I get anymore.
It's okay. It was worth it still.
It was pretty good. Yeah. I
Still
Anyway,
watch season 2.
that account,
okay.
that account started tweeting at the E3 account, saying, hey, getting hyped for E3 2019. Hey, E3, can we get an invite? And then there is some charming banter back and forth about about Netflix having a panel at E3, which they intend to call "Bringing Your Favorite Shows to Life: Developing Netflix Originals into Video Games."
Oh.
And then they posted
Okay.
some animated GIFs of pixel art of the Stranger Things characters,
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
and they say something about, of course, there's the upcoming Stranger Things game,
Mhm.
but I didn't know they had a new one ever since the Telltale one.
Well, I wonder if this is a Netflix
Fell
thing or if
apart.
they're making traditional video games based on Netflix
That's the
properties.
implication, is that they are actual traditional video games.
Yeah.
So
And
then-
not the interactive.
yeah, this is not the
Huh.
choose your own adventure
Right.
Netflix show
mean-
stuff. Like, I mean, this looks like a pixel art Stranger Things game.
But like you think about something like
Rad.
Oxenfree, right? It's a traditional kind of adventure game where there's a little bit of movement. There's no way, like, there's no reason you couldn't chop that up into a million video segments and make that a choose your own adventure style.
Like Bandersnatch or whatever.
Yeah, like Bandersnatch or the Minecraft one or whatever. Like
Maybe,
that-
yeah, who knows? Maybe it is something that's actually going to live on their video platform.
I mean,
but-
it's kind of just interactive fiction, right?
yeah,
Right.
sure.
Yeah,
But
I'm into that.
I don't know. This mostly just made me wonder, like, what other shows do they have that is ripe for adaptation besides Stranger
House
Things?
of Cards.
I don't know if they're gonna put any
No?
big investment. I can't.
Yikes.
Why?
So, Ben, some stuff has happened. I got
Oh
bad
no!
news.
I stopped watching after season 2. Why,
Did
did
that-
like the
yeah.
Russians get involved?
Did that
or-
final season ever come out?
Oh,
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it did.
Are you
Yeah,
serious?
they just
Done?
wrote him out.
yeah,
Just
it
slid
was
that
just
out
all
there, didn't
Claire.
I mean, the thing that makes like, what is a video game in 2019?
No idea.
Like, if you load up, like, I loaded
You're
up
asking the wrong
Netflix.
group.
I loaded up Netflix, and my daughter wanted to play the Minecraft thing, and I was on my Apple TV. It was like, yes, this player does not support this interactive content.
Oh.
So I was like, well, shit, okay. Like, go to FAQ, and I was like, okay, I gotta do this on the PS4. So I connected the PS4 to Netflix, and we used the gamepad. She was like, the buttons are all wrong, Dad. It's not the A and the B and the X and the.
Oh no.
So we played that, and it's really cool. But it's a video game inside my Netflix, and it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
My worlds are colliding, and I don't like it.
I mean, video games are everywhere now. They're on the phone, they're on the TV. Like, pretty soon you're gonna have to play a game of Pac-Man on a cup of Pepsi, like a Pepsi tie-in, just to open the lid. It's unfortunate.
Did you ever see those, Ben? You're too young to remember this because you wouldn't have been like -6. But do you remember those 90s AT&T ads where like, have you ever bought concert tickets from an automated teller? You will. Have you ever
I love those ads.
Have you ever tucked your child in from across the world?
Yeah.
Weren't those
You
things,
will.
Weren't those things like
1993.
like really uncannily kind of prescient? Like, didn't they actually call a lot of the stuff they were?
They got a bunch of stuff right, and then they got a bunch of stuff hilariously wrong. They're all on YouTube. If you search for like AT&T You Will ads on YouTube,
I
they
loved
pop
those
right
things
up.
when I was a kid.
Yeah, they're very good. But yeah, like, have you ever played a video game on your television? You will.
Crazy.
I mean, I have, yes, actually.
Yes, yeah, it's
most
that's
most
nuts.
turns out
Nuts.
even then you had probably, but yeah.
Just to clarify, apparently the current Stranger Things game, not the Telltale one, but the one that is still coming out, was announced along with season 3.
Yeah, I remember seeing.
It
Looks like it's coming out.
That.
Yeah, it's
Like a
coming
River
out.
City Rampage.
Yeah,
type
it
thing, right?
looks like some kind of
Okay.
beat 'em up.
Yeah.
2-player co-op. It looks like it's
Sprite
coming out.
art
That's what I
looks
think
really
about.
good though.
I think
Fighting
it's
Gorgons.
coming out on July 4th. I'm not sure if that's when the season.
I hope I can play as
comes out.
Steve.
Which one's Steve? The kid with no front teeth?
No, the older kid with the hair, the teen.
Yeah. I didn't watch the second season.
Yeah, I stopped after season 1 and felt pretty good about it.
Season 1 was, it's like True Detective.
felt
Like
like-
that
yeah,
first season
yes.
was perfect TV.
It's not as bad as season 2 of True Detective.
I didn't-
It's okay.
There's some
No, but,
redeeming
like,
stuff in there.
My point is, I reached the end of that first season. I was like, this is a perfect thing.
It's a good-
Nothing
yes,
they're going to do
totally.
is make this
Totally.
better.
The
See, that was
ending,
One
the,
Punch Man too.
the
Yeah.
ending, the ending was like pitch perfect, and I thought they should have either left it there, or actually, I was hoping it was going to be like an kind of anthologized.
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah, and it would
like
be a
a True
different-
Detective.
yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
But
like,
yeah.
Colin Farrell. in
well,
Stranger
but
Things
I felt
2.
like they could. I felt like they could have kind of established a Stranger Things averse really well with
Yeah.
this,
That's true. But
where you have like
man,
really subtle crossovers between seasons, but nothing overt.
those kids and those characters.
Like it
are
would have
so
felt
good,
more
though.
like the kind of Amazing
I would've
Stories
missed them.
stuff that
Oh,
they were
sure.
trying to take on.
like
in the
American
first place.
Vandal.
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
Oh,
Oh
my
my
god.
God, it's so fucking good.
Season 2 ended a little weird, but it
Yeah,
was
started
really,
so
really
strong,
good. It's
though.
really good.
So strong.
I love that their budget just like obviously quadrupled or something
Oh,
between
yeah.
1 and 2.
I have no idea what else they would want to do games wise
That's
based
it.
on their
American
properties.
Vandal game. You
Yeah.
have to draw the dicks yourself. You
Yeah.
have to-
Think about that. It's VR. You can choose which cars to decorate and which cars not, and then the story just unfolds.
customize your balls with or without hair.
Yep. Veiny shafts or not so much. Veiny shafts.
Sometimes we really have to struggle to come up with an episode title, and
Just-
sometimes it's just like
Think about those veiny shafts.
Because it's a giant corporation, my mind just goes to like the most awful tone deaf things they could possibly do. Like, I don't know, Orange is the New Black, private prison tycoon simulator,
Oh my
or
god.
something horrible.
Or
Hopefully they know better.
oh god. Yeah, there's a lot of bad there.
wet hot American summer dating sim.
Okay.
That actually would be I'd play that.
Yeah.
Her story set in the wet hot American summer world.
You know what's very good?
Fire watch with me.
Brad Wood's very good.
Tetris 99.
Oh
Yeah.
god, yes.
They put out paid DLC
What?
for Tetris
That
99.
game's free.
It's called the Big Block DLC.
Big block.
It's $10.
Hold on, do you guys
Big
is there a
block.
6 block?
I didn't know this DLC was happening.
diagonal.
I just took a patch for the game while I was out of town last week and then
Uh-huh.
rebooted it. And now they have a space for themes in there.
I saw well, and there's new stuff too.
So
There's
like,
2 modes.
yeah, well that's the paid DLC.
Oh, okay.
The theme stuff, well, it hasn't started yet. It actually starts Friday, I believe.
Mm.
They're doing a third one of those weekend tournaments that they've done before.
Okay.
Except this time, if you get 100 points, which is not hard, I did it on the last one. It didn't take long at all.
Okay.
You unlock a Game Boy styled theme, like visual theme.
Like green?
Yeah, like it's straight up. They put out a shot. It straight up just looks like the Game
Yo.
Boy.
That's amazing.
That's great.
Like I play that game almost daily, and all I wish it had was just a little more kind of customization, like stuff to unlock as you level.
I wish it had a daily challenge.
Yeah, something like that would be
like
cool.
I love the practice of a daily challenge.
Well, so this DLC, I almost bought it, but I'm not quite. Neither of these things are really what I'm looking for out of that game. One of them is an offline mode.
that's kind of compelling for like
It's kinda
airplane
cool.
and/or
Yeah.
subway use. Yeah.
It is the full game
Or if
against
the
CPU.
multiplayer stuff is a little too stressful for you.
Yeah,
then-
yes. People
The multiplayer stuff is hard.
are
Yeah.
very good at Tetris. It turns out
Yeah.
anybody who's still playing that game, there are at least 10 people in every match who are just ridiculous Tetris wizards.
Like I've always considered myself pretty good at Tetris, but even then, I've cracked the top 3 a couple times. I've never gotten a win.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's rough.
I have
was-
just about made peace with the idea that I will never win that
So,
match of that
I-
thing. I've gotten second place a good number of times. but-
I was the best Tetris player on my dorm floor
Okay.
in college, and like cash games, for reals. I've won
Money
one,
matches?
We played money matches at Tetris, man.
Nice.
I've won Tetris 99 once out of like 200 or 300 games,
wow.
and Gina was like, "What are you yelling about?" It's like, I just won Tetris 99. She's like, "Really?" It's like, yeah, thanks for the vote of confidence, sweetheart.
I mean, it's such a fascinating, like, extra, like, meta layer of strategy, like trying to game the badges that make you more effective.
You got to get the badges,
Right.
So the trick is, the beginner tip I have as a winner one time is,
The retiring champion.
yeah, I put it down, never played again. No, you start with going for KOs because you want a bottom feed. Getting Tetrises doesn't help. Like getting Tetrises is kind of good sometimes,
That's the part of my brain I have to break.
but for
Yeah.
the most part, you want to just constantly be dumping singles and doubles.
Yeah,
and
I think
triples.
my sense is that combos are more effective.
Combos
than,
and T-spins are both better than getting like Tetrises.
Of course, if you can combo Tetrises, then all the better.
Like
but
it's terrific, but still the number of Tetrises you can combo is only like 3 or 4 realistically, because that's how tall the board is.
Yeah.
So like you're much better off doing 20 single lines and getting an enormous combo
Yeah.
than a bunch of Tetrises, and getting badges. If you get to like the top 10 with only 1 or 2 badges, you're fucked.
You're done.
There's nothing
Yeah,
you can do.
Totally.
So
The badges, the number of badges you have also contribute to how much garbage you clear.
that's how much multipliers you clear. That's both
not-
how
it's
much
not-
garbage you send and how
it's
much
both,
garbage
right?
you clear.
It's not
Yeah.
just your attack. It's
Yeah.
both.
And
Okay.
it's each badge is like a times
that's-
2, I
that's-
think,
that's
or
crucial
times
then.
1.5. The other thing is knowing, like, you got to constantly be like, you don't have to pay attention to the overall board as much as you have to know, like, if there's more than 2 people attacking you, you should switch to attack, because that also multiplies the amount of garbage you send out, which gives you better chance of getting more badges and knocking more people.
Yeah.
And also, early in the game, it kind of makes sense to build a giant tower so that the game thinks that you start flashing red, so people start attacking you, trying to get KOs, and then you can feed like it's to
You can
use
bait
the
them.
DOTA parlance. Yeah, you can bait them and then feed.
Oh, well, feeding's bad.
You make them the people that are feeding
Yeah,
you.
there you
They're
go.
feeding you.
Yeah.
You're gonna feed on them.
Yeah, you're gonna feed on them. You're gonna eat them.
It's a really good game.
It's real close to my favorite game this year.
I think it's there for me. So this is a $10 add-on. It is an offline mode. It is a full 99. It's the full game. It's 99 players, but all CPU. And the other one is just a marathon mode, which is fine. But there are other ways to. If I was going to play single player Tetris, I would play Tetris Effect.
Yeah.
Can you?
But I will say real fast. There's a second drop of modes this year that they haven't detailed yet. And this $10 purchase gets you both. So if you buy into it now, you'll get whatever they're going to put out later this year as well.
That's good.
If you don't have Nintendo Online, can this $10 get you that game?
I don't know. I doubt
Because it has an offline
I
mode,
doubt
right?
it. I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I don't actually know.
You can get Nintendo Online if you have Twitch Prime right now for
Yes.
free, I think, still.
Oh, that's right.
For a year.
So yeah, it's a heck of a
That
deal.
game's incredible.
Yeah.
They don't say if this customization stuff is also going to be locked behind this DLC. I don't think so, but you just have to play in this weekend tournament that's starting on Friday.
I know what I'm doing this
which
weekend.
I will super do because
How long did you
I just
play
want that
to
game to look and sound different because it gets a little repetitive when you play it all the time.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
How much did you have to play to get the 100 points last time? Is it like 10 games or something? Or is it even
was
that
probably somewhere around there, maybe a dozen matches or something. It's not hard at all to bang out over 3 days.
Okay, good.
It's pretty easy. I can't wait for that. Remember Fig?
Yeah.
Vaguely.
I can
Remember
it's like
Star
Kickstarter,
Citizen?
but with the equity.
Do you remember Star Citizen?
Yes.
What if you could fund games on Fig the way the Star Citizen is being funded?
So if I'm making
in
a
an
game, I can raise
ongoing
$250 million
perpetual
with Fig?
fashion. Yes, that's
I'm
exactly
in.
what's going
That
to
sounds
happen.
great. We're going to do that right now.
Yeah, I want to do it too.
I'm launching my new project. It's called Block All the Brands. It's a Twitter extension that lets you automatically block all the brands. We're going to be on
It's disguised
Fig
as like a
next
first-person
week.
shooter.
Yeah.
And you can like blast the brands
You blast
away.
the brands you don't like. So
Yeah.
like Wendy's, you're gone. Nihilist Arby's, suck it.
But they're bringing back the spicy
Nope,
nuggets.
they're gone
Come on.
too.
Ooh.
Oh, spicy nuggets sound pretty good.
Yeah, they are.
We'll block them after the spicy nuggets are
I mean,
back.
look,
exception.
I can still eat the nuggets if I block the brand. I don't have to listen to their propaganda.
But when are you going to know that they're available?
available.
Jason just told me I'm cool. I got it.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
it
no,
works.
yeah, they're coming.
Word of
yeah,
mouth.
But
It's how brands used to communicate with us.
There's only one brand worth following on the internet.
Which one?
Giant Bomb.
That's right. That's not a brand. That's your
The
friend.
lifestyle.
that's a way of life.
Bombcast Gigante.
Yes.
Next week in Spanish.
The founder of Fig flat out said the traditional crowdfunding structure no longer works for video games.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they're launching a thing called Open Access, which is essentially the Star Citizen model of it's not a month-long finite thing. You can just continue chipping into the project as in perpetuity until it's done.
It's like Patreon.
But
for
the
games.
the big thing obviously with Fig is that you are investing, like you are buying into a share of the profits
But only if
for
you.
projects that you crowdfund as opposed to just buying rewards.
Is it only if you're a certain kind of investor? Or do you have to get qualified? And
I
stuff
forget.
still, or do
I
they fix
forget.
that?
I can't remember what all the
Okay.
kind of qualification stuff was
Is-
exactly.
Is Star Citizen out?
No,
No.
No, right?
like pieces of it are out.
Doesn't that
In
strike
various-
you as an odd choice to compare? Like,
Well, they didn't say that.
Okay.
I'm saying that.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't lead with, "Hey, we're gonna make this thing just like Star Citizen."
That's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
no.
It's like, hey,
Apparently,
you know that very
uh,
popular video game Star Citizen that everyone loves.
Apparently, Phoenix Point, that XCOM spiritual successor, is also doing that style of funding, of
Okay.
just kind of taking funding from people in an ongoing fashion. So Fig is just kind of formalizing that whole thing now.
I mean, think about like a studio like I forget the name of it. They were making that. Oh God, that game I played on UPF that was kind of like a 4-person dungeon crawler. It was based in Texas.
Was it
Breach, yeah.
The one that shut down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like if they had something like this,
Yeah.
right, they could be developing the game as it goes, right? Then
Right.
that's how you avoid the kind of that situation. So I mean, I'm skeptical. Whenever there's like, hey, we figured out a new way to raise money
Yeah,
for
new-
this thing, I'm immediately skeptical.
New
But
way
this,
for people to put money into projects that don't exist yet.
this sounds like it could be a solution to a problem.
I mean, the challenge with a lot of the crowdfunding stuff is that, like, there's a reason a lot of the stuff doesn't get funded by traditional publishers and stuff like that, which is that they look at it and they're like, oh, yeah, your budget is, like, if you roll into Sony with this pitch that's on Kickstarter, then they're going to be like, well, your budget is 30% under, and there's no way you're going to be able to make the game
Right.
on this amount of money. So where's the rest of it going to come from? And, like, you don't have that here. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm saying sometimes publishers are good.
Sometimes not.
Often, maybe. I don't know.
There were just so many. I feel like less so now, but there were so many examples like a year, 2 years ago of just Kickstarter games falling really flat, right? Just like they were able to make a flashy trailer or whatever, just a really good pitch. People put the money in, they got the game, they were disappointed. I feel like this will also alleviate some of that because it's like, hey, you can actually play. Like we have this playable prototype.
Yeah.
We're going to be developing it out with the money that starts coming in. Like, you know, you come in once for a month for like whatever, I don't know, $40, and you actually get to play it right away. It's not like, I believe that you are going to make a good video game. Here is $250.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe you're skittish up front. You wait 3 months and they've got more to show. And then you're like, all right, now I'll get in.
Yeah.
Or something.
And I mean, for what it's worth, some stuff that's come out of Kickstarter has been astounding. Like Superhot was a Kickstarter game,
Yeah.
Yes.
right?
I believe that's, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was. I
How?
backed it. It was it was
Battle Chef Brigade.
Battleship
I love that game.
Brigade. Broken Age was good. Like there's been a bunch of stuff that has come out of like.
Wasn't FTL? I'm pretty sure.
Was it? It
I
must have
think
been really
so.
early. If it was before I was on Kickstarter.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So I just feel like people's kind of with Double Fine Adventure, what became Broken Age, the expectation and they're open to cash grab situation on Kickstarter where people are like, well, look, you can put your game up and make a good trailer and make $3 million, and like that reset the tone. So we went from having like a bunch of little indie games that were doing pixel art and stuff that was relatively inexpensive for a few $100,000 to, hey, you can make an actual like kind of like low budge big game, and that reset expectations in a negative way, and then this is the next phase after that.
Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, I feel like why not just do a Patreon if you're a small studio and have like 3 people and you want to make your thing. But what do I know?
Options are good.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
It sounds like Patreon after that
Patreon
rework
has
is
issues.
Yeah, there's
having some issues of their own.
Yeah. Patreon has issues. Kickstarter's Patreon competitor got handed off to the guys who make XOXO. And yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
2019, there's a lot going on.
Year of the lot going on.
But that's all that went on this week because we're out of news.
That's all
Aw.
the news? Oh,
Yeah.
that's too bad.
So let's
I'm
take
up to date.
Yeah, now you know. Let's take another quick break and then we'll come back and read emails.
Today's show is brought to you in part by new Starbucks Triple Shot Energy. Yeah, triple shots. Starbucks Triple Shot Energy has 225 milligrams of caffeine from Starbucks coffee. It also has a hint of flavor. And it is enhanced with guarana, B vitamins, and ginseng.
I'm doing those Vince McMahon reaction faces over here, like just escalating.
Yeah, no,
'cause everything is better than the last.
Yep, that gives you the energy to do what matters to you, and it's available in 3 delicious flavors. Are you ready to hear these 3 delicious flavors?
I don't know if I can handle it.
All right, strap in.
Okay.
French vanilla. Yeah. Cafe mocha.
Ooh,
Yeah, right? And caramel.
doggy.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes your energy's spent, but there's so much more you want to do, you know?
Oh, Lord knows.
Yeah. There's just a whole thing. Sometimes you're just tired. But sometimes you need the energy to do the things that you want to do. And that's where Starbucks Triple Shot Energy can come into play here. In its 3 delicious flavors. You know, spend time doing what you love most. What is it? Volunteer somewhere. You got hobbies. You got stuff you're trying to get done.
Gaming.
Gaming.
It's mostly gaming.
Gaming. That's a hobby.
I need to stay up and get all this Dota MMR, Jeff, and there's only one way. I think I'm gonna go with the Cafe Mocha.
Okay. All right. Well, you can find it in your local grocery or convenience store.
All right, let's close out the show with some emails.
Emails.
Sent to bombcast@giantbomb.com
That's where they
electronically by mail.
Emails.
There you go. First email comes in from Ken.
Hi.
I can.
The horrifying Sonic trailer has had me thinking about why video game movies so often end up poor or at best mediocre. So often it seems like the studios and writers admit that there is something worthy of a movie in the source material, but then seem embarrassed by that source material and try to alter it. Why is it the studios seem so adamant about changing the source material, and will we ever see a video game movie reach the heights of, say, the Marvel movies, which are equally nerdy IPs that own it rather than try to dodge it?
I think superheroes are less nerdy than in the current climate.
Yeah, currently.
I guess
Also,
so.
though,
well,
like,
I feel like once you get down to the actual comic books, they kind of still occupy the same, like...
Yeah, but they're two different things now.
yeah, I really don't think you can compare these two in this circumstance, because comic books are a medium that are specifically designed to tell a story over an arc.
Yes. They're authored like a novel or...
Right, which are easier to adapt.
much
into
easier to...
screenplays.
Yes, totally.
Not saying you can't do that for some video games. Like, there's obviously, like, if you could I could see somebody making a good, like, Metal Gear movie or something, like a game that's told over several.
Like, you could
But
make...
Metal
you could
Gear
make,
is a cinematic game franchise. Like, clearly, he was trying to make movies.
You could make an Uncharted movie that cut out a bunch of the gameplay parts and more or less was just that story.
Look, I want a
probably be
12-minute
fine.
I want a 12-minute cliff climbing segment in the middle of my Uncharted film. Thank you very much, sir.
Is that like the first person sequence in the Doom movie? Like you have to
God,
have
People cheered in
You
the
have to
theater
have
when I
so
saw
good.
that.
It's so good.
you have to have gratuitous cliff climbing in a
Yeah,
Uncharted.
you gotta have some cliff climbing and like a desperate ledge grab and a swing.
I caught some snippets of that Assassin's Creed movie on cable recently, and it looked
That came out.
interesting.
somewhat
Yeah.
Is this the one with
Fassbender.
What?
Wait,
They straight up wear the hoods, and the Apple of
No.
Eden was there, and
I thought-
it seemed like it was kind of that.
I thought Fassbender was Hitman.
No,
No,
that's
no.
Timothy Oliphant.
Who I thought it was like
Well, I think there's been multiple 47s.
Jake Gyllenhaal was the Assassin's Creed. Oh, he was the Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I like my greater
Mysterio.
UB universe is confusing.
I feel like video game movies, it's tough, right? Because you are adapting something for kids usually. Like, most video game movies are geared towards kids, and most video games rely on like a lot of CG, a lot of unrealistic stuff. So you're gonna be working with a high budget. And once you start getting when that high budget, that's when the studio wants to massage it a little bit, make sure it has more mass market appeal. They don't want to take a big risk spending a bunch of money on a Mario movie that like has the same plot of Super Mario RPG. They're gonna be like, no, let's make him just like a relatable guy and blah blah blah. And that's how you kind of get that watered down.
And that's how you end up
version.
with Dennis Hopper playing President Koopa, the leader of Dino Hatton.
I never saw that movie.
I haven't seen it either.
Oh, it's
a treat.
It like scared me. It legitimately freaked me out as a kid because like
Dennis Hopper's terrifying.
he is.
Yeah.
I love him. He's great as a.
Oh God, he has like a lizard tongue.
Oh
in that,
yeah,
in that
he
movie.
like
Oh wow.
yeah.
It was
Yikes.
I remember
practical
the Yoshi.
too.
Wasn't there like a Yoshi?
Yeah, the Yoshi was
birth
just a
scene
raptor.
that like came out of an egg and it was all gooey
Yeah,
and slime. Oh God.
The Goombas were terrible.
Oh,
in that
God,
movie.
yeah.
Terrifying.
Were they men with mushroom
Who was
hats?
the like Big Mama? The lady with
Lady
with,
Bow?
like, in the jumpsuit, jump boots scene.
What?
There's that
I
scene
don't
where they're like
remember
in the
that part.
underground and they have the big jump boots and there's like a
Right.
lady
Yes.
chasing them
Yes.
around.
Equally as
That scared me.
terrifying.
Yeah.
I feel like, if you're doing a big budget animated movie, which like for all intents and purposes, Sonic is an animated movie that just has some human actors in it. I mean, same as Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
That's like every shot has CG in it.
Yes.
In that film, like the amount of budgets and the number of people that touch it, and like even if you start with like a screenwriter that is really in tune with the source material, each step along the way it changes more like it becomes more like they have to make it a multi-quadrant movie, so it has to appeal to girls and boys and parents and olds, or else it doesn't like they're not going to make enough money. And really, it seems like right now everybody's trying to launch cinematic universes.
Yep.
So like, how many
Cinematic,
video
oh,
game
man.
franchises can support a cinematic universe? Not all that. I mean, maybe Assassin's Creed.
Mario, the
I don't
Mario
think-
world.
What like are they really going to send
You get a
Mario
Lu-
to?
okay, Mario movie,
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion movie,
Okay.
I'd watch that.
I'd watch
yeah.
Luigi's Mansion.
Donkey
Hell
Kong
yeah.
movie.
Is the Luigi's Mansion movie going to make me shit my pants with fear? Is it that scary? Or is it
No,
like
I think it's more of a
little bit
it's like a
scary?
Ghostbusters vibe.
Yeah,
Ghostbusters
oh,
was
yeah.
scary as shit, man.
It's like Slimer vibe, like the Slimer scene. That's it. Pretty much every ghost.
I mean,
in
the
there.
dogs,
Okay,
in
yeah.
Ghostbusters are pretty. As a
The
kid,
librarian was
Those-
terrifying.
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
sure, okay, fair.
The hotel sequence, terrifying.
Mm.
The electric chair sequence, terrifying. That is a scary movie. The second one is the one you're thinking about. That one was funny. It's a better Ghostbusters.
It's about the power
Don't
of
at me.
positive thinking.
Yeah.
Then you do another Mario movie because like he's the,
Is it
every
Paper
third
Mario,
movie
like this one's
is like,
drawn on notebook paper
oh
or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
maybe?
that's a good twist. You
Yeah,
know, and this
Thousand
is
Year Door.
slowly like this is them gathering the all the Marios together for the
For
eventual
Smash
Avengers.
Brothers.
Yeah, did you see the
Eventually.
Smash Brothers
Brothers.
cinematic
That's the
universe
tie-in?
thing going around on Twitter?
Yeah,
That was
that's the Avengers
The-
and the Smash
the
Brothers.
Netflix adaptation is make Mario Maker, and you like choose your own way through the Mario
Yeah.
world.
Yep. But yeah, other
On Netflix, right?
video game Call of Duty cinematic universe.
No.
Kevin, no, they can't. Kevin Spacey, they can't do that because, yeah, he's bad.
They've already perfected the Street Fighter universe. so-
Yeah.
Look, I think Mortal Kombat.
Don't
You could
touch
do
it.
an anime series that's Mortal Kombat because there's enough. Like you could do the one episode.
Oh, you want
Yeah,
that live
that's
action
like-
gore though?
Like the moment that Johnny Cage
Goro.
realizes he's a dick, like the fight starts, the fist is just coming toward him and it slows down, and like you go through Johnny Cage reliving his entire life, and he's like, "Fuck, I am an asshole."
And then he does the splits and punches the guy
Yeah,
in
and
the
then he
balls.
punches him in the nuts, and he's like, "Yeah, lean into it."
All right, email from Rick. I assume this is a conversation from last week, which I wasn't here for. Continuing the jacket, coat, hoodie, sweatshirt conversation. Ringing
What?
bells.
Did
Did you guys talk about hoodies and sweatshirts?
Oh,
Well,
after
whatever.
show?
Whatever. This guy has a straightforward question. We'll just get into it. A hoodie has a hood, whereas a sweatshirt does not. We all agree on that. But what about pockets? Do all hoodies have pockets? I think so. Not being a sweatshirt dude, I don't know, but I don't think sweatshirts have front pockets. Is this accurate?
Correct.
No,
so.
wrong.
I think a sweatshirt can have.
A
can,
So Will
but
Smith
they-
chimes in
I'm
with
gonna
the
say a sweatshirt can have the one through
Yeah,
pocket.
that's. I have.
the one pocket that you can stick your arm all the
Yeah,
way through.
so no zipper.
But there's lots of
You
hoodies
know.
that do that. Most hoodies do that. Well, not
Well,
most
if
hoodies.
it's-
No,
yeah,
I can't go
sure.
all the way through with zip. I
But
have
there are plenty of hoodies that do that.
my poker
have a
playing.
front
if they don't have a zipper.
My
If
poker
they don't have a
sweatshirt,
zipper.
Yeah.
which has a ridiculously oversized hood that maybe is offensive, has side pockets but no through pocket. But then I have another sweatshirt with a hood that has the kangaroo pouch that goes all the way across the front. I think there's no clear definition here.
I can't see the separate pockets unless you get a zipper. That
Yeah.
seems weird.
Yeah.
The separate
If
pockets
they're on
aren't
the
great.
side, I could see that as kind of like you
Yeah.
can do like a cool brooding guy walking with your hands
Yeah.
and sleeves hood down.
Yeah.
Like
It's so you have a place to put your
Quiet
hands when
man.
you're playing poker, so you don't give any tells. Pull the hood all the way down.
Yeah.
They can't see any face, maybe a little tiny bit of mouth. And then you put your hands in your pockets where they're safe. Cards
Yeah.
on the table.
they can catch you on the like look at your chips and then look back at your hands.
Yeah, no, you don't ever move your head. That's the secret. You just always look down to the left
Yep.
and then back exactly where you were. It's terrible
Or you
advice.
could be that
That's why I
guy
do
who
this
wore those
podcast.
the glasses with the snake eyes on them.
Oh man, that's not okay. If I was a professional poker player, I'd have the glasses with the lenticular thing on the front, so that like if you're looking from one direction, it looks like your eyes are closed. And you look from the other direction, they're open.
Devious. Eric from Florida. With all the controversy surrounding Randy Pitchford, it reminded me of another studio head who didn't know when to shut up. Silicon Knight's own
Yeah.
Dennis Dyack. Which of the two do you think is more controversial? And if you had to pick one to head up a studio, which one would you choose?
Two Humans, pretty good game.
That was a little the Dyack stuff was a little before my time, but were the allegations against him
There
on
aren't
the
even
level?
not really any allegations that I remember. It was mostly
Yeah.
him picking legal fights with Epic and like. In fact, yeah, he was pretty much always on the offensive.
Right.
He went after the press really hard after Two Human previewed poorly.
wasn't really anything too scandalous.
They
though.
sued
He
Epic.
didn't like
wasn't
allegedly
lurid.
funnel
Yeah.
$17 million out of his
No.
company.
Well, I'd have to check. I want to say, didn't they sue Epic? But then
It got thrown out or something, right?
I want to say it came to light that they had illicitly used source code, or I hope I'm not getting that wrong. They did not have the legal standing
Yeah.
to pursue the action that they tried.
I think they
I
sued. I
believe.
thought they said, didn't they say Epic used source code from their game in the engine, rolled it in the engine improperly or something?
But then I want to say the reverse turned out to be true.
Yeah.
I may be wrong. But
There was, or I thought they ran out of money before they finished the lawsuit. and
maybe
had to
that's what it
settle.
was. But it was pretty much
Um,
always him picking fights with people, really,
Right.
from what I remember.
I mean,
No, like medieval times.
No, nothing
Yeah.
of that caliber. Definitely not.
the common thread is rather than just saying, "Hey, we fucked up," they went on the offensive.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's the, like the whole thing last week with, "Hey, why have you fucked me on this?" or whatever it was.
I can't believe you would fuck me on this.
Yeah, it's like all he had to say was, "Look, I misspoke. I
Right.
meant there's no pay to win microtransactions."
You send in a correction and they update their story. Like that's how press
It's
has
like-
been doing that
it's-
shit forever.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody just needs to. They need crisis PR that has legs.
Yeah.
Seems like
It's
they finally
unfortunate
got in
'cause-
there and took his phone away.
Oh, has he been off Twitter for
I
a while?
think so.
We'll hear about it after the. I mean, it's just a bummer because so many people work on that game. The game looks interesting and
Yeah.
fun, and like people are. I'm really stoked about it. A lot of people are really stoked about it, and it's all this is just drawing attention away from the thing that is important,
Yeah.
which blows. Anyway, sorry.
So who would you rather have heading your studio?
Running a studio, man. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like if we're, you know,
There's a lot more to running a studio than talking to the public.
Mhm.
I gotta refresh my memory. What else did Dayak work on?
They did.
Eternal
Eternal Darkness
Darkness.
is probably their biggest claim to fame.
Yeah,
Two Human.
I never played Eternal Darkness.
They
The first,
did
the first legacy
Metal-
of.
They
first
did a
legacy-
really good like remake of
that remake
the
of
Twin Snakes.
Metal Gear Solid was
Oh
pretty,
yeah, the
pretty good.
GameCube one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
The first Legacy of Kain was pretty damn cool when it
Yeah.
came out. Like, so yeah, Silicon Knights has a pretty good catalog,
I'll go with
actually.
them.
Yeah, maybe they might actually have more good games than Gearbox.
Brothers in Arms was awesome.
I never really got into those
Those
games.
games were really good. They were something completely different.
Make mine Dayak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to go Dayak here. Sorry,
Yeah,
Randy.
I think I'm with you. Question from Tyson. Was there ever an N64 game where you used the left and center handles, ignoring the buttons on the right handle entirely?
Maybe like a racing.
Yeah.
I cannot think of one. Like, what are you going to use the analog stick with your right thumb? That just seems
That seems fucked
Insane.
I
up.
use my analog
Wait.
stick with the right thumb all the
that,
time.
well, that would give you a D-pad and an analog stick, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
And
so
what?
shooters
One
would use
shoulder
that.
button and
You'd
the
have
Z
a
button.
shoulder button, the trigger, the D-pad, and the
Z
analog
button.
stick.
Yeah.
Maybe we need Jeff here to answer this question.
It's
Not
but
that I
I'm-
played a
I'm-
lot
I'm
of
sure
I
somebody
missed
used
it.
just those two
I
prongs.
cannot think of a game that would use that configuration of
What
controls.
configuration again? I'm sorry.
It would be D-pad, analog stick, one shoulder button, and the trigger.
Oh, okay.
Because it had the three handles. And you
Yeah.
could
Yeah,
technically
just
hold
two
it.
prongs.
I play that
Three different
with
ways?
like the wrestling games, like WrestleMania 2K. I keep my left thumb on the stick.
I weren't there GoldenEye configurations that you could do that? So you
Maybe.
could use the stick to aim?
Maybe. And
Or
move-
could you only aim? There was
move-
no up and down with. Was there up and down?
Oh God, I can't remember. I think so. I think so.
I'm fact checking.
All I know is it's a bad controller.
No.
I think it's.
Yes.
I think it's not. It did not age well at the time. It did some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
It was a great way to play Super Mario 64.
Oh no! The best GoldenEye control setup was the two. You held the middle prong of two sticks, so you had two controllers, and you could do dual stick with
What?
two
Oh my
prongs.
God,
That's-
really?
That was
Yeah,
supported
you
by
had
the
to
game.
have four.
That was supported by the game.
Yes,
What?
100%.
Wow, that's insane.
It may have only been
That's like
Perfect
playing Pod Racer with two.
Yeah, that makes me respect GoldenEye more. That they put that in
That
there.
is pretty
That's-
cool.
That's ridiculous.
I'm looking. So solitaire is L button aim, control pad up down. Okay, I'm looking for no control pad ones.
Well, it would use the control pad. It wouldn't use the buttons or the C buttons.
Oh. Yeah. So then, no, these all use buttons. Good night. Dual controller styles. Dual controller styles are designed to be played with a hand on the center grip of each controller. These allow for analog movement, turning, looking, and strafing, whereas only two of these can be available at a time on a single controller.
That's insane.
That's really cool.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so controller 1, controller 2, and then you still have to hit the A and B buttons
Kinda
on
wanna
those
try
to change
that.
guns. It was
Got that
bonkers.
N64 laying around.
I had four controls, and it was
We've
four
got 4
controllers, and we would play
controllers.
2 players.
Huh.
It was pretty magical.
Huh.
I can't tell from this if you could do left. Yeah, it looks like you could. There's a couple of them that are do lefts.
Weird.
Yeah.
We should follow up on that. Chris from Dayton, Ohio.
Hi,
Well-
Chris.
While walking my dog late last night, I heard someone cry out, "Get fucked, Bulbasaur." I stopped in my tracks and looked around. I continued to look around for several minutes, hoping to get an idea of where this came from and why. There were a few houses that still had their lights on, but something tells me the type of person yelling something like that prefers to keep their house as dark as possible. My question is this: what do you think Bulbasaur could have done to send someone into such a rage?
They were
Challenge
probably
him.
playing Pokemon Go,
Yeah.
and it ran away from them. That's the only thing I can think of why they would sell.
I feel like
"Fuck you,
that's
Bulbasaur."
You think?
Wait, was it fuck you? What was it?
No,
Or was it
get
fucked?
fucked.
Or get
Bulbasaur.
fucked. Yeah,
I feel like
that
that's the kind of thing you
implies-
yell when you catch them.
Yeah, that seems like a victory catch.
Yeah.
Or defeated.
Like you got a sparkly one or something, a shiny one.
Hmm.
Somebody called me a fuckface in PUBG last night.
Over voice chat?
Yeah.
Wait,
They couldn't even they didn't even see your like.
were they in your squad?
How would
No,
they
no,
know
no.
that just
So-
from
is
your
it
voice
open?
alone?
So
They
do
killed
open?
me, and they were looking at my crate, and they were like, "What? Not that Will Smith? Is this guy trying to claim that he's Will?" And we had a conversation about how some people were maybe born before Will Smith was famous. And my parents weren't assholes for naming me Will Smith. And then he said, "What are you, 75?" And I was like, "Well, actually, I am kind of old." And then he called me a fuckface and drove off after
Jesus.
away from my dead body. It was a good interaction.
Yeah,
How are strangers able to talk to you?
But
Do you
sometimes
opt into that?
Sometimes you leave voice chat on so you can hear other people talking in the vicinity
Is
because it gives them
positional?
away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Halo 2. It's the old way.
I feel like that feature only makes sense if everybody is forced to use it.
So people who play with randos that
Yeah,
have
you
to
want
use
it.
it.
Yeah.
So if they want to use voice chat, so you hear people fairly regularly, and like
I mean,
sometimes-
I like a mode where that was the only way to communicate, so the decision to speak out loud is a tactical decision because you might give yourself away,
Yeah.
could be cool, but when you can opt in and out of it, I don't know.
Well, so sometimes you end up with situations like where the blue's coming and people will be like, "Hey, if we stop fighting, will you not shoot at us?" And we all run to the circle and then fight when we get inside the circle, and
That's
that
good.
works out. Yeah.
That's good. Jason from Renton, Washington. I was listening to last week's Bombcast on my commute home from work like you do when Ben started laying down some Smash terminology. Since my college friends were all grade A scrubs who spammed Pikachu's lightning attacks like assholes, I never got that into Smash.
No.
And one term in particular left me head scratching.
Is it sex kick?
What on earth is a sex kick?
With the predict.
So you see the Marios, right? They have a move. I believe it's their neutral air. I think Dr. Mario specifically might be the sex kick, because his Mario and Dr. Mario are kind of like inverses of each other. Where Mario, when he does the aerial move, it starts out really strong and then gets weaker the longer the hitbox is out. Whereas Dr. Mario, I might be swapping these two. Starts really strong or starts really weak and gets stronger when it's out. And for whatever reason, I don't know the origin of why it's called that, but Dr. Mario's aerial neutral air attack is referred to as the sex kick.
Okay.
It's
There you
because
go.
there's 6 of them, and sex is 6 in many languages.
6 who?
It's the number 6.
Because it starts out strong and it just
Yeah,
fizzles out
yeah.
after a while.
It's Dr. Mario the Love Doctor. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's who was the doctor on the boat in Love Boat?
Why are you looking at me?
I also just looked at you.
You know why I looked at you. I was fucking 3 when the Love Boat came on. I wasn't allowed to watch that. It was my parents said that was smut.
Yeah,
that
but
and the
like-
facts of life were banned from my
But
house.
when you turn like 14, 15,
They
you
talked
start
about
watching what your
menstruation.
parents were watching, you know?
My
and
parents, yeah, no, yeah.
Okay, all right.
My parents were watching terrible reality smut by then.
The good shit.
Yeah.
Sex kick?
Sex kick.
Yeah, there you go. Chris from Mesa, Arizona. Living in San Francisco for as long as all of you have, what are your opinions on motorcycles? Have any of you ridden? Do you have a license? Have you ever had a negative experience as a rider or bystander?
You would have to be suicidal to ride a motorcycle in San Francisco.
Yeah, but a lot of people do.
A lot of
I mean, a
people do,
lot.
yeah.
Like, it is crazy how many people
And
are
they
on
just
motorcycles
zoom down
here.
that, that weird
Split the
middle lane.
lanes.
Yeah, the lane splitting around here is insane.
I do not have a license. I used to have a scooter though, because I'd lived like 2 blocks from where I worked, and so I'd like ditched my car, and I'm like, I'm just gonna get a little scooter. And that was fun as hell. But
You could get one of those electric skateboards now.
yeah, I tried that and nearly died. Will, thank you
Oh,
very much.
Okay.
I don't want
I-
to go back there.
So I have enough friends that have been seriously injured or permanently maimed on motorcycles and scooters that, like, my opinion is don't ride fucking scooters in busy cities
Yeah,
or motorcycles.
my uncle was in a full body cast for months after a motorcycle accident, so my mom was very much a "you're never going to ride a motorcycle" kind of mother.
Oof.
I had one of good friend of mine, like, just a car came over on him and he got trapped between 2 cars
Jesus.
and broke both legs and was like laid up for 6 months basically. And there was nothing he could do. It wasn't his fault. It was just one bad driver fucked him in a bad way.
But they're so cool.
I mean, motorcycles are really
So fucking cool.
And practical.
They're so fucking loud.
Yeah.
There are so many
Yeah,
loud
that's awesome
motorcycles
about it.
around here.
Yeah.
I've thought about it.
Yeah.
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 You're,
Yeah.
you're too beautiful, Jan. Don't do it.
I don't know what to do with a helmet. That's why.
You've
That's
already
only
got the
thing
wind
that-
swept hair.
You have to get
problem.
it cut out.
That's a real problem.
Yeah.
You have to get it cut.
Like, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's my
Sunroof,
plan. Or
oh.
like get the Scrubs helmet just to accommodate for the hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
That. Yeah. I don't know. That's the only thing holding me back. And then I do
Probably
it.
right.
This might be super ignorant, but is a motorcycle license totally separate from a driver's license?
Yeah.
What do you
do a
have?
special.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, need a special test.
Can
If
you
the
have
CC, like if it's over 50 cc, the engine size, then you have to have like a motorcycle license,
right?
depending on the state.
Scooty puff.
Can you have a motorcycle license and not a traditional driver's license?
I think yes.
suppose.
I think a motorcycle license includes a normal car license, though,
Really?
doesn't it? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Hmm.
I have
It's never
not
come up.
held one.
I don't have either.
Not even a car one.
I've driven maybe a total of an hour and a half in my life.
Really?
And that's
That
pretty
sounds
much all
great.
recently. I've been like practicing around the Alameda Air Force Base area, that big
Yeah.
old open space. Yeah.
That's where the Mythbusters used to do a bunch of car
lots.
shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. If I ever have to remember how to drive a car, that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Wait,
It's
do you
great.
not drive either, Brad?
I haven't driven a car. I used to drive constantly, but
Yeah.
I haven't driven a car in over 10 years.
Wow.
Just no need.
Yeah.
I mean, when I lived in the city, the only time I drove was when we had to go out of town.
Yeah.
It was great.
let's see. Brandon in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
Wow.
Sorry, buddy.
I had a friend who lived there when he was a kid.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess, yeah, there's a base.
Said you had to check your shoes for scorpions.
So it's like Arizona.
Yeah.
Black lights.
Uh,
Scorpions glow in black light.
Does it feel too early for the next gen consoles, or am I just insane?
You're just insane.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I kind of agree.
Half steps.
I-
The
yeah,
half steps
it's-
jacked you up.
Maybe.
Yep. That's it.
I think I think it's more the length of the last generation that
But I mean, if you look at the 360 PS3 generation, the problem was it went too long.
I guess so.
Like that, by the end, those machines were screaming for mercy.
Yeah, 360 was at 8 years, which is probably insane.
I feel like we're also just generally, I say we as in modern gaming consumers are playing fewer games for longer periods of time. Like you're spending more time with a game because the service games of service thing is so jacked up now that it can make it seem like, it's like, well, I remember on 360 I played like this, and you just start thinking about all the single player games, even multiplayer games that you just eventually put down, compared to now where it's like, well, what were the big hits for PS4? And you start thinking about it. It's like, oh yeah, I played that one for like 150 hours. And
Yeah.
I think the other thing is there haven't been as many new franchises as I expected out of this generation, because like they did so many more Assassin's Creeds and Uncharted's and Mass Effects, and like they brought back so many of the properties from last time.
There's hardly been any.
There have not been
Yeah.
that many.
It's like Watch Dogs was this generation,
Watch
right?
Dogs, Destiny,
Anthem.
sure.
Um,
Gosh, I'm trying to think.
Mm,
Titanfall is a new one.
Yeah.
Sekiro.
yeah, Titanfall was this generation.
Yeah, well, they're
Sekiro.
good about kind of bouncing around
Yeah.
between games.
Bloodborne was the new, but that's not really a franchise because
Right.
they haven't
Yeah.
been making any more of those, sadly.
Yeah, it just feels like there have not been as many
like there haven't
brand new properties as there were last time. So
Definitely.
I feel like that's where
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
feeling comes from for me. Is I keep thinking like they're going to come out with a couple more big things before this is over.
Yeah,
right?
what's like the Mass Effect 2 of this generation?
in terms of like
Breakout.
Like what's the big 80-hour
Like
multiplayer? I mean, single player game
just
that everybody played.
like resounding creative success. Probably
Yeah.
Witcher 3.
Witcher 3, a lot of people will say Bloodborne for that. I didn't play enough of it, but a lot of people put that up there as like one of the top
I think
PS4
Bloodborne's too hard for that slot. It's too difficult.
As far as
I
like
think,
a-
like if you're talking general mass appeal, then sure. I
As
see
far
that.
as like a landmark release that like changed standards, probably Witcher 3 or like Breath of the Wild to me.
Yeah, Breath of the
Breath
Wild,
of the Wild's a
probably,
good
But
one.
that's
Sure.
but, I mean that's a new console technically if that doesn't
Yeah.
count
Yeah.
in this arbitrary game.
I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens with new consoles and the split generation. Like
Red Dead.
will Xbox?
Yeah, yes. Actually, yes, like Red Dead 2 in
Oh,
terms
God.
of what it did for
Really?
for simulate in terms of like a clockwork world full of like an insane amount of detail.
Okay, maybe in that context.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Like I'm setting aside like
as a video game that's fun to play, I'm
setting
aside.
I'm setting aside like subjective opinions about how the controls feel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in terms of ambition
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
scope that I hadn't seen before, like that thing by a mile, absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I was eyeballing an email. Crap, where did it go?
I was eyeballing the time.
Okay,
Unfortunately,
you
I
gotta
got
run.
I got a duck.
Bye, Jason.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Jason.
Bye, Jason.
Take care. This is a good time to ask because you're here.
Yeah. Hey, what's up?
This kind of ties into the question about the half-step consoles and how all that stuff's going to be handled. Been kind of sitting on this email for a few weeks.
It's the Tech Minute.
Peter from New York. Back when the PS4 Pro was announced, Sony had a rule where developers would not be allowed to charge for game upgrades. With the recently announced PS5 and it being backwards compatible with PS4 games, do you think Sony will allow or even encourage developers to charge for PS5 updates or modes that increase graphical fidelity and or performance for PS4 games? Would this be how developers get around the potential loss of revenue for remasters of PS4 games that they won't be selling?
I wonder if they could. That's a really good question. I mean, there's no technical question there. That's just like
Yeah.
it's business. What
Well-
does the suit say?
Well, I guess the tie-in technical question is, do you think all the PS4 games will just run exactly as they would have on a PS4? Is it going to be like a
you think
compatibility
they're gonna do
mode?
like a boost mode type situation?
Right. Do you think there will be actual enhancement? Like the way that 360
I
games
don't
actually
know.
run and look better on the one than they did on the 360?
Well, that's a case by case basis for the
Right, but
360
that's what I'm
games, right?
saying. Like will they invest that effort?
I mean, here's the thing on the Microsoft side is interesting because Microsoft does that work for the developer for the most part,
Yeah.
right? Like they don't. It's not like they have source code or they're recompiling or anything. They're just building like they're running a custom emulator for each game, right?
I think they are.
How could they do? I mean, how
I'd swear I saw they were recompiling
really?
native x86 executables, but I could be wrong.
Huh? I thought they had like a wrapper. That,
I think they also, but then I think they also have a VM. Maybe I could be.
I
totally
wonder if
wrong.
there's a GDC. Like, I should go look at the GDC vault and see if there's.
I
a
think
talk about
that
this, 'cause
information
I would be very interested to hear
is
how
out
that actually
there
works.
to some extent.
But,
but-
like I feel like if the developer has to do work to make it work, like to upscale it or make it look better or whatever, they should be able to charge, right? If you're going to go out and you put 3 people on something for a couple of months to do this thing, then they should be able to charge a couple of bucks and recoup that.
I think so.
Yeah, okay, sure. If it's cheap, then sure. Like when you say that, it makes me worry that like that's gonna open the door for people to make like the tiniest changes that are barely perceptible, and yet say like, hey, it's enhanced. Pay us $10 if you want to play it.
I mean, probably the right way to look at it is if the game is good enough that people are going to want to play it, then you'll probably sell new. Like I'm sure that there are people that buy one console a generation and like probably haven't played a lot. Like they bought an Xbox One and they're bummed that they missed, Bloodborne and all of these PS4 exclusive games. So like if Insomniac makes a PS5 version of Spider-Man, then they're going to presumably sell more copies of Spider-Man. Just like I bought Red Dead Redemption for the Xbox 360 digital because I couldn't find my disc and I wanted to play Red Dead when it was backwards compatible on the 360. So, I mean, on the Xbox One. So, like, I mean, maybe Sony guarantees, maybe the fix is that Sony guarantees a certain amount of revenue or gives a higher split for X number of days or whatever when people do backwards compatibility work. Maybe shit just works. I mean, it should just work theoretically given what we know about the architecture. I mean,
I read the Digital Foundry presented a pretty good case for why that's not the case.
Oh, really?
When you're in such a multi-core parallel environment,
well,
that's where it gets tricky.
But I mean, it's
because developers are like basically like hard coding to the speed and number of cores that they had on that system, and that you can't predict that behavior in a different environment.
Okay, so let me. I think that was probably true with the launch. PS4 is definitely true with PS3. I think if you were doing the stuff to make PS4 Pros work in boost mode or make it look better on PS4 Pro, like everything that's come out after the PS4 Pro was announced basically has done, my bet is that probably it'll work itself out.
Maybe so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they.
I mean,
account for
this is
that
all
stuff.
guesses because
And
who
there-
fucking knows it. until
Yeah,
the
who
hardware
knows?
ships.
And there's weird patents that Sony filed in Japan for stuff related to that.
And who knows if they're even
Who can
applying that
say?
stuff to this hardware.
The expert answer is we have no idea.
Yeah, everybody's just guessing.
Companies should be rewarded. They should make money for the work that they do, and they should be
Yeah,
able to access that
for-
revenue. Yeah, you know.
For the kinds of improvements it sounds like will be possible with that new hardware, yeah, like it probably is going to be a fair amount of work to take advantage of some of that stuff.
I think it's really amazing that when the PS4 launched and they were on the back half, they were on the low side of the last generation. They're like, backwards compatibility doesn't matter. This generation, things went great for them. They're the winners of this round. And they're like, look, this time we really care about backwards compatibility, everybody. We're going to make this happen. It's an important tent pole for every console.
It's extra weird when you remember who one of the chief dudes saying that backwards compatibility wasn't a big issue is now in charge of Sony games.
Yeah, amazing that.
All right,
we're going to be able to play Knack on the PS5. That's all I care about.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally.
Knack 3, I mean,
play Knack as it was meant
they
to be
got to
played.
complete the trilogy.
It's true.
That's the cinematic universe we need to build.
I don't want to be in this world anymore.
This time, 128 Knacks.
Think of how many particles can be in every single Knack.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We're all made of
army
knacks.
Too many primitives.
Totally.
Every
Knack
kind of
battlegrounds.
geometric shape you can think of is going to make up this Knack.
Oh my god, it's gonna be so
Impossible
many
shapes.
triangles. So many triangles.
All right, last email. Lee from Vancouver, Canada.
Hi, Lee.
Why is a pair of pants one item when a pair of shirts would be two?
A pair of socks is also 2.
Hmm.
Well, is it?
No, a pair of socks is one.
A pair
of socks
is a singular item.
Yeah, but it includes a set of 2.
But a pair of pants is one item.
Pair of pants. Well, it's more why do you say pants?
Probably because in the old days they were 2 individual pieces of clothing that you were that you buttoned together across the crotch.
Is that
100% factual? Yes,
I'd buy that.
I did not just make that up right
Okay.
now.
Yeah, I think actually when I was playing Mortow earlier, the default pants, you slide. He's like, I put my pants on one leg at a time and then button them together.
I mean, I've heard people say pant leg.
Yeah.
Plenty of times.
Well,
so
remember-
I'm going to say it's because there are 2 individual pant legs in a pair of pants.
Well, like think about your medieval gesture with those different the different legs on the pants.
Those
Like he
poofy
mixes
ones?
and matches those. Yeah, like
Yeah.
one is checkerboard, one's polka dots. Those are two different pants, and you can pick which ones you want.
Tune into our forthcoming spinoff podcast about the exhaustive history of pants.
Oh man, real history, totally accurate history podcast.
Yep.
TAPS. That's not what that acronym is at all. I don't, man. That's a good question. This is a question for the illusionist.
Who?
Do you know this podcast? It's a great podcast. It's a Radiotopia podcast about the history of words.
Oh.
And it's real nerdy, and the
That
woman who
sounds-
does it has an awesome voice.
That sounds good.
And she says, "Welcome to the illusionist." Illusionist. She's English, I think.
Can you submit words?
Yeah, I'm sure that there's a way to write in. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Maybe we should forward this along.
Yeah, just send it over there.
Yeah. All right. That's the final email.
That's it.
Bombcast at giantbomb.com.
Oh, that was a
I
Thanks,
guess I could
Lee and everyone else.
pull some more if you really want.
No, we're free. I have to pee again.
Keep going here.
Staying hydrated.
All right. You and your coffee.
I just drink pamplemousse right now.
It's brave.
What?
I've got to the point where I just don't drink liquids before a flight because I don't want to have to get up, which is probably.
I had a real bad bladder infection a few months ago.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to have that happen again, so I'm
Okay,
staying
just-
real hydrated.
I just did 2 6-hour flights in the last
Yeah,
week.
no, you need to
without,
drink about-
without standing up even.
You're gonna get. Look, you're too old for that, Brad.
Yeah,
you're gonna
probably-
get the blood clots.
My
and-
feet felt a little weird at the end of it.
Yeah,
But
yeah. You should.
Here we
you
are.
should get up and pee.
oh,
I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
okay, let's
Good
do that.
idea.
All right. After show, Jeff's
Yeah.
out of here, but
Yeah, we're going to have a
You
little special
got a
guest. on
pinch
our
hitter
after
coming
show.
in?
It's not Will.
I think he's all talked
Thanks
out
for
at this
asking me,
point.
though. Dick.
I didn't even want to suggest, hey, do you want to do a 4th hour
Yeah,
of
we-
podcast?
We take up enough of your time
It
already.
worked for the Today Show. Why not the Giant Bombcast?
Thanks for coming in, Will.
Hey, you're
check
welcome.
out
Thank
check
you.
out Foo on
Look,
Have we done this too many times?
we have cartoons coming.
Okay.
I don't know if we're ever going to get to show them, but we're shooting a bunch of pilots.
Okay.
We're very excited about it.
You've gotten into the world of content.
I stream on Twitch every night.
Okay.
I play PUBG and Spelunky. I'm doing Spelunky dailies again.
Nice.
Ooh.
Because I wanted to get tuned up for Spelunky
Does
2.
Spelunky have online co-op?
Spelunky 2
Spelunky 2
has
better.
online co-op, I think.
Okay.
Spelunky by day, PUBG by
Man,
night.
Spelunky's so fucking good.
Yeah, it
It is the best video game.
I find it.
yes.
I genuinely find it to be the most streamable game that I can think of to play in this office. Like
for-
I feel like I
yeah.
could stream Spelunky any day,
People will watch.
and people
Oh,
would be
God,
excited
so
about it.
good.
Like I get random people coming in that are just like, shit, yeah, somebody's playing Spelunky.
Right.
That's awesome.
Right.
And like the daily challenge is just the perfect, like assuming you don't fuck up and die on the first 2 levels or something. It's like it's just such a good amount of time to play. And I'm getting better again. Like I'd gotten bad because I hadn't played in 3 years.
That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. I feel like if you asked me what my game of the generation was a few years ago, it would have been like Mass Effect 2 for the 360 generation. But I'm back on Spelunky. I think Spelunky's the
It's
winner
a
there.
pretty good.
I think that's a
pretty
valid.
good
That is.
choice.
Yeah.
That's a valid choice for
Yeah.
sure.
Anyway,
All right.
so that's it.
Let's all go pee and play Spelunky then.
Yeah, Spelunky.
For the next week straight.
You want to play some co-op Spelunky?
Sure.
Okay.
After I'm done peeing.
Come over the house. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Sounds
Bye,
good.
guys.
All right. Thanks for everybody for listening. We'll see you next week.
Support for today's show comes to you in part from new Starbucks Triple Shot Energy. Starbucks Triple Shot Energy has 225 milligrams of caffeine from Starbucks coffee, a hint of flavor, and enhanced with guarana, B vitamins, and ginseng for the energy to do what matters to you. It's available in 3 delicious flavors, including French vanilla, cafe mocha, and caramel. Find it in your local grocery or convenience store.